I missed a letter, but who cares? Oh, we got more people coming in. Yay! Praise the Holy One of Israel. Kavika, shalom. Shabbat shalom to you today. Praise the Holy One of Israel. All right, you guys, we're going to get started. Let me put this on right quick. Now you can hear the joy in my voice, right? And you can hear the happiness. The happiness that's in my voice that you're hearing is that I know the reality of the Creator's name. I know the significance of it. And I want to continue to share that with us today, along with some other things that we learned through our Torah portion. But before we get started on that, let's go ahead and open up. Usually I open up with a blessing on the Torah, which we definitely do all the time. But today I'm going to bless the Torah, but I want to give a blessing on the Holy One's name, okay? Because his name is awesome. In our Torah, we say, Berakuthet Yahweh Hamvarak, the Baruch Yahweh, the Hamvarak, the La Alam Wayed, which is say, blessed are you, Yahweh, you are the blessed one, blessed are you, Yahweh, the blessed one for all eternity. And then we say, Baruch Atah Yahweh, our Eloheinu, the Melech HaOlam, Asher Bekar by Nu the Nikol, the Hamamayim, the Natan La'at, the Torah, which is to say, blessed are you, Yahweh, you are our Elohim, and we bless you, and you're a king of the universe who selected us from all the peoples, and you gave us your Torah. And we Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Eloheinu, the Melech HaOlam, the Arishet Nathan Lenu, the Torah of Emeted, the Kaye, the Olam, the Natah, the Betokinu, Baruch Atah Yahweh, the Nathan HaTorah, which is to say, blessed are you, Yahweh, you are our Elohim, you're the king of the universe, who's given us the Torah of truth and implanted eternal life within us. We bless you, Yahweh, because you're the giver of the Torah. But also, too, today, I want to go to what they would call, and I'm going to show it to you. It's in, let me see, someone said, here, are you recording? Oh, Shabbat Shalom. Oh, Shabbat Shalom, Kavika. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen with you right quick. And here it is in the screen, what we're going to see here, where it says, it's Psalms 113. It's a song, okay? And what it says is, this is a praise that's to the Holy One. And it says, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Of the Yahweh, the Halu, the F, the Shema Yahweh, which is to say, praise Yah, praise the servants of Yahweh, praise the name of Yahweh. Yeh the Shem, the Wahaye, the Ma Avarok, the Meatah, the Way Adolam, which is to say, let it exist the name of Yahweh to be blessed from this time forth and forevermore. It says, Mizraka de Shemesha de Adedebo de Vo'o, de Hulal de Shema Yahweh, which is to say, from the rising of the sun until the going down of the same, may we be praised the name, the shame of Yahweh. Hallelujah. Then we say in verse number 4, Ram Oli the Kolagoyim, Yahweh the All the Hashamayim and the Kovodo, which is to say, lifted high above the nations, Yahweh above all the heavens is his glory. That's his kavodo. Verse number 5, to me, the Kayawa, the Eloheinu, the Ham Abagovilvidhi, the La Shavet, mentions who is like Yahweh, our Elohim, who's on high and who dwells in that which is on high. Verse number 6 tells us that the Hamash Pili, the Lidro, the Bashamayim, the Uva Odres, he humbles himself, talking about Yahweh, has caused himself to be humbled, to look in the heavens and the earth, to look upon them. Yahweh has to humble himself. He has to lower himself because he's higher than the heavens and he's higher than the earth. And then it says in verse number 7, the Mekimi, the way of father the dollar, the way Ashafot, the Ra, Yavrim, the Avon, meaning that he raises out of the dust the poor out of the heaps of the dust, and he lifts up the needy. Verse number 8, the La Hoshividi, the Im, the Davikim, the Im, the Davike, and the Amin. Amon, excuse me. So he's saying that he may sit him with the princes and with the princes of his people. Verse number 9, the Moshevi, and the Aquareth, the Habayit, the Aim, the Habanim, the Shema Ke, the Hallelujah. That's the final verse. It says that he grants the barren woman a home like a mother children of joy. Praise Yah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the Holy One of Yisrael. I give honor and I give praise and I give adoration to the Holy One of Israel. We give praise to the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. We give praise to the Holy One of Israel. We give praise to the King of Glory. We give praise to the Creator of humanity and all that's in it. We give praise to the one who gives us water to drink. We give praise to the one who heals our body. We give praise to the one who has opened our eyes and opened our ears and allowed us to speak today. We give praise to the one who's put food in our stomachs. We give praise to the one who gives us light from darkness. We give praise to the one who gives us Torah. We give praise to the one who opens up our understanding. We give praise to the one who's full of knowledge. We give praise to the one who gives us wisdom. We give praise to the one who gives us fathers and mothers. We give praise to the one who fulfills his promises. We give praise to the one who's almighty. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Yisrael. I praise him. Hallelujah. It's a wonderful thing, you guys, today to be part of a small flock of people who understand what it is to praise the Holy One of Israel. You know, this week, our Torah portion, we read about a story of the children of Israel that are going to leave a land of their oppressors, okay? This story is found in the book of which we will call Shemot. Where's my pen? What did I do? Oh, here it is. It's called Shemot, okay? And we found this in particular Torah portion. If you don't know what a Torah portion is, it's a portion of scripture that we read on a regular weekly basis, and we read it day by day, and we do it consistently all during out the year. And so the screen that I have before you is just a website that we use that you go to find out what scriptures you should be reading for that in particular week. A lot of you already know this, I already showed you this, but for those of you who have never been on this channel before, have never seen this, the children of Israel are commanded to teach their children Yahweh's Torah. The Torah, okay, in the Hebrew means instructions. Sorry for writing upside down or on a sideways. That's what it means. Okay, it's instructions. Instructions to do what? Instructions on how to live your life, instructions on the judgments of Yah, instructions when there's the Moedims, the times of celebration, the holy days, the times of the feasts and the festivals. So even as today, there's people who are celebrating what they would call a pagan festival or a time of celebration for the people that are around them. The Holy One of Israel has given us what he wanted us to do. So within these first 5 books, what they call the Torah, okay, Bereshit, Shemot, Vayikra, Bamidbar, and Davarim, these are the Hebrew names for the first 5 books, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Each one of these names means something. This means at the beginning, and this means the names. And this is he called in the wilderness by his words, okay? So the focus that we're doing now, the Torah portion that we're looking at, okay, so we can stay in context, is we're looking at right here, the book of Shemot, okay, which means names, the names, okay, the names, because this right here, the S-H-E-M, is what they call shame, which a lot of people think this means Shem, but it's shame, okay? You would think in English it was S-H-A-M-E, shame, same pronunciation, but they're spelled differently. They share the same letters, a S-H and an S-H and an N, okay? So there's a lot of similarities there, okay? And also shame can be something that you can think about, an abstract term on what a person brings to themselves when they do something that's wrong. But shame for us means name. And when we talk about a name, okay, because that's what it means, your name is your character. It's who you are. It's the breath of you, okay? Okay. Also too, what else can we find about this? This word shame also means, they use it for the word to mean place or there. I'm just giving you some Hebrew words so you'll let you know it means there. Like, where did you sit? I said it there. I said it shame. Okay. It's the letters that are found in the word for heaven, which is Sha, Ma, Yem. Got the letter SH and an M right here. Okay. Meaning the breath. That's where you get your breath from. You get your breath from the heavens. So heaven for us is not necessarily an abstract term. Heaven is something from us that we experience on a daily basis, meaning that we see the sky, the clouds, we see the sun, we see the rain, we see, the stars, we see the moon. And not only do we see it, but we're actually affected by it. There's an effect that it has upon us. Like today, it's raining here in California. We see that, we feel it, we touch it, we can taste it if we want it. That's where we get our water source from. Okay, so the water that we drink comes from the heavens. Okay, and so that's where it's placed. That's, again, shame. That means there. That's where we're going to find the source of our water. Okay, so that's the first part of this word, shame. Okay, the last part is oath, which you have right here. Let me clear everything up for you. And of course, you should have a pen and paper so you can write this down, because you are not religious people. You're actually students. That's why you're here, because you want to learn. So shame, and then you got oath. So what does the oath mean? Does anybody know? Anybody in my Hebrew class? What does oath mean? They just got OT, but it's really OTH. What does it represent? Do you know?
Plural.
Yes, it's a plural, meaning that, so if the shame means name, and then they got oath, okay? So you got shame, and then you put the oath on it, OTH or OT, they put OT, but it's really OTH. That means plural. So it means names. Okay, so the oath represents the S, which is the plural, and here is used as a feminine plural. Okay, they got plurals for males, they got plurals for females in the grammar, but we're not going to go too much over that today. I just wanted to let you know what this actual name means, or what this name of this book is. So the name of the book is Shemot, and the first Torah portion is called Shemoth. So it's important to understand that this is what it is. The first name of this book is Bereshith. The first Torah portion is called Bereshith. The first one here is called Vayikra. The first Torah portion in that particular book is called Vayikra. This one here is Bamidbar. Again, Bamidbar. Davarim, Davarim. So how did they come up with the names of these books? They came up with the names of the books of the Torah based upon the first words that are in the first sentence of that in particular book. So when you read in Bereshith 1 through chapter 1, you're going to find the first word is Bereshith. And in Shemot, you're going to find the word Shemot in the first line. And Vayikra, you're going to find Vayikra. Bamidbar, you're going to find Bamidbar. And it's these words actually mean something. It's communicating. Okay. So again, this means names. Okay. So why does Yah want to tell us? And this whole entire thing here is all about the names. All about names. So what is so significant about names that are so important that he wanted to write a book and name it that? What's so important about it? Is it the names of the people? People have names, right? Places have names, right? Things have names. You use names to describe things, right? So they could be, people, place, or thing, which we know here, people, places, or things are what? Nouns. So Yah wants us to look at the nouns. See? So when you're religious, you can't use grammar. They don't use grammar. They use emotion and spirit. They forget about what the nouns are. So Yah doesn't want you to forget about the nouns. This is what he's telling us. I want you to know the names of the people, the places, and the things. Okay. Because I got some exciting news for you. Okay. Yah is going to use the book of Shemot to tell you about the names of the people, the places, and the things, because he's going to tell you the character. of the people, the places, and the things. That's what this is about. It's about the character. Okay. One of the things that I'm going to show you today that's going to blow your mind is you're going to say, okay, I get it. I could talk to you about it, but I don't want to talk to you about it. I want to show you so you can actually see what I'm saying. Okay. Because you need to find out the character of everything. So when Yah, I'm just prepping you right now, when Yah put these words in all this in particular book, this part of the scroll, okay, so it's not just a regular book that you would get like you and I have today. It was a scroll, okay, and in the scroll there's divisions and so forth and so on. So you got to ask yourself the question: why would Yahweh want me to read this every year on year on year on year? Because we have a yearly cycle. We read this every year. We don't choose. We don't pick and choose like a lot of people and say, well, when I first came to the truth, I would say, well, you know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read, you know, at that time I was a Hebristian. I would read the book of Matthew. Okay. I guess the internet's tripping a little bit. Forgive me. I would read the book of Matthew, and then I would go over and say, well, let me read a little piece of Genesis. And then after I read Genesis, then I'm going to go ahead and I might go ahead and read Ezekiel. And then I'm going to go from Ezekiel, I'm going to read something else. And so you're all over the place. So you're scattered. You're all over the place. You don't have anything that you go to on a weekly basis and keep you on what we would call a path. Okay. You need to stay on a path. So before you come into the knowledge of the Torah, you're really on your own path. You're going all over the place. When Yah was leading his people, he doesn't lead his people in pieces here and someone over here and someone there. He puts everybody on the same path, the same direction. Okay. In the Hebrew, the word for path is called derek, like the name Derek. It means path. It means a prescribed way to go. Okay. It means to tread and to walk. So when Yah is having us do things, there is a prescribed path. There's a path that is already set out for the people to walk on. Okay. So when you're on a prescribed pathway, okay, I'm sorry, this thing is tripping. When you're on a prescribed path, you're going in a certain direction. And when you're on that direction, you're being led. Okay. I'm trying to make sure that we understand. So when Yah asks us to go on the path, he says that you have to do this with a shepherd's staff, the lamed, a staff, which has to be put into a person's hand. Internet's slow, forgive me. Okay, come on, stop tripping. That's what's put in the palm of your hand. It's a shepherd's staff, okay? The staff is what Yahweh put into Moshe's hand and told him to lead the people out of Mitzrayim, okay? So it's a prescribed path. So the path that Yahweh wants to lead us on is a prescribed path. It's a path that has to be followed by everybody, the whole entire flock has to be led to the same. Oh man, the pen is tripped. What's going on? I may just have to start talking instead of writing. The same place, which is there, to a certain place, meaning the shame. That's where I got to bring you. Okay. So as a leader, right? Any leader that you pick and you choose, they have to follow. And this is for the YouTube audience as well. You have to follow the one who has the shepherd staff in their hand. Okay. And they're leading you somewhere. Okay. But it's not just any staff, that any leader. It's like it has to be an approved leader. Okay. The leader that Yahweh picks is the one who follows Moshe's words. It has to be his words. It can't be David's words. It can't be Ezekiel's words. So there's a question to ask, like, well, what about the prophets? You know, should we follow the prophets' words? Yah has never told Israel to follow the prophets. He told them to listen to the prophets so they can return them back to what? To the Torah of Moshe. This is what Yah's concerned with. So a lot of times, we like to rush through and, give people the best, religious service that they can ever have, get them uplifted, tell them how much Elohim loves them and all those things, which is true. Yah does love us, and we do go through a lot and everything, and we can relate to the story of Exodus because we are people of oppression, so we're very familiar with that. We're very familiar with pain and all these sorts of things that they've experienced. We know the story. We know how he went there and he did plagues, and we know how he went and he did all kind of signs and wonders. We know, about the blood, and we know about, all these different things. We're all familiar. These are stories that we've been hearing all of our lives. So what's so different about today than it was last year and the year before, and when you were 5 and 10 years old at Sunday school? What's the difference? What's so different about the story that Yah has you continually reading it year after year after year after year? It's because there's words. Listen to me. That's why, oh my goodness, I wish this thing would work. Your tools don't work, it makes your job harder. It really does. It's like having a drill and you can't use the drill. You know what I'm saying? So then you got to go to the, you got to go to the manual. You might go to the manual hammer versus the hammer drill. Okay. So let me just keep talking. Forget the tool. There is a purpose behind this. There's a purpose behind this. And the question I asked was, what's the difference? And the difference is this. Every word, and I want you to hear me, every word that's found in the book of Shemot is to lead you to understand what Yahweh wants you to do. And he's trying to build our character. Okay. So I'm going to show you some examples of that so you could get excited about, why are you following this path of Yahweh? Why are you doing these things? Why? And he's going to show you. So if we click, I'm going to go over here right quick. We'll get right to it. Praise the Holy One of Israel. I'm going to show you the reason why you're following him. You're not following me. You're following him. I'm going to show you why. Okay. Because it's a prescribed path. Okay. And you can only find this path if you go in the Hebrew. It's the only way you're able to do it. Okay. So I'm going to summarize these chapters, right? I'm going to read the title of it. I'm going to explain to you why they wrote it the way that they wrote it and all that. We're not going to go into too much Hebrew today, but enough for you can understand. Okay. So everyone knows that the children of Israel were growing. And the first thing he mentions, Yahweh says, is this. He says, in Ele Shemot Banei. Okay. I want you, if you got a pen and paper, or a phone, you got to write this down. You have to, so you can really understand what's going on. Yah says the sons of Israel, right? He says, and these are the Shemot. Here it is, that word Shemot. Here's the names. There's the names of the sons of Israel. So here it tells you the sons, S-O-N-S. But the letters that are being used is what they would call a bet, the second letter of the Hebrew language, and a nun, which is, I forgot what number it is, but it's a nun. And they represent a B in English and an N in English. Okay. So a bet is really a B and a nun is really an N. And so you're going to see that word. Okay. So that's one of the words that is popping out a lot. Okay. Praise the Holy One of Israel. He's teaching us today. Okay. And he says that these names, and he gives the names of all the sons of Israel, which you can see in verse number 1. He tells you that they came out of each man in his household. Okay. And again, we have this word right here called household. Okay. And so we have the bet in there, same letter, and then we got a tav. Okay. Okay. Right here. Those are two focused letters. This one here means his, another one is and this right here is called bayith, but it's really called a bath. Okay. So that's one, right? So that's a word that pops up. Because remember, it's not just about the names of the people. we got Reuben, right? And Reuben has a bet, and he has a noon in his name right here, Bane. Okay. I want you to catch that. And he gives all the names of all his sons. Okay. And the sons, their names mean things. Lewi means to join, Yehuda's praise, Yissachar means wages, Zevulun means, I forgot what his name means. And then you got Benjamin and son of my right hand, Naphtali, the wrestler. God means fortune, and Asher is wealth. Okay. Zevulun, to dwell, because Raquel says, surely now my husband will dwell with me, because I just had the son named Zevulun. Okay. Don means, Elohim is my judge. All right. And then it says, here's the souls who were the descendants of Yaakov. There were 70 souls who went into Mizraim. Mizraim, which we found during our week, that Mizraim is a place of bondage, and it's a place of, servitude. Okay. And the servitude on this thing is oppression, because the word Mizraim from Zar means to press. That's what it means. So something inside of their name means to be oppressive and to put pressure. Okay. So you're going to get some pressure by being here, a place to be pressed. So Yah has sent these people to a place to be eventually pressed. Okay. As a result of this, it talks about, I'm going to be moving quickly. Okay. Verse number 6, and it said, Joseph died, his brothers, and all that generation. We're done with that. Next thing, there arose a new king over Israel. So now he's going to tell us about, who this person is. We know that Melech means something. Melech means, not only a king, but it means someone who brings a message. And it means someone who has a lamed in their hand and a cough in their palm. So that's what it is. They are called a Melech. From what? From walking. And that is to be a ruler. That's what a Melech is. It's a ruler. It could be a king, and it could be someone who brings a message. Okay. That's why it's called a Malach. Okay. Or Melech. Okay. Malach is a messenger then of this in particular place. Okay. So it's a message. Let's see. And all the people looked. Okay. Now it says in verse number 9 that the people, the sons of Israel, here's our word again for Bane, the Beni of Israel. They grew and they became mighty. Atzum, more than us. That's what this king said. He said, they're mightier than us. They're stronger than us. Who? These sons. Okay. Then he said, they're multiplying. Okay. They're multiplying. So he says the way that we got to deal with them, and I'm just going to paraphrase here, we have to deal with them with wisdom. It says deal shrewdly with, but it talks about wisdom. And it has to, and he says, because they're multiplying, they're just growing. These people are just growing. They're just multiplying. Who's multiplying? The sons of Israel, okay, which includes their daughters. And it says that when it comes, time for war, if a war ever broke out against us, they're going to join with them, and then they're going to fight with our enemies against us, and then they're going to end up going out of the land. That's what they're afraid of. So he's having this council. He's telling them, we got to do something to these people, because they keep growing and growing and growing, and they're going to outnumber us, and they're becoming stronger than us. So we got to do something about that, because if our enemies ever come against us, they're going to join. So he uses this word called milkamah. Milkamah means war. Okay. Little did he know that there was a war coming, and that Israel would join with that in particular, one of their enemies, and Israel will end up going out of the land. The war that he was going to have was with Yahweh. Yahweh was declaring war on Pharaoh. Okay. I want you to know that. Yahweh was declaring war on Pharaoh. That's what his concern was. So he had great concern. And then it says that, so what they did was, and we're going to summarize this. What they did was they decided to, let's put a whole bunch of burdens on them. Okay. And once we put these burdens on them, we need to assign taskmasters over them. And we need to put, these burdens, and they need to build for us. And here's the word for supply houses. And you got the bet right there, and you got the noon again. The bet is right there, and the noon is in that word. Okay. Mispanoth. Okay. So we need to get the Mispanoth built. Okay. So here it is. Mishkanoth, excuse me. And we need to build. That's what I want you to do. I want you to, and hear it again, I want you to catch this. There's another bet, and there's another noon. But this time it's talking about to build. Okay. So this is the same that's used for sons. It's the same root that's used for sons is used for built. Okay. In the Hebrew language, certain roots share certain qualities and aspects and character. Okay. So sons, building go together. Okay. And I'm going to show you that in the lexicon in a second. So what they wanted to do in order to afflict them, what they've done is say, we need to put them and put some stuff over them. We need to oppress them, give them burdens, give them tasks, and make their life very difficult. We need to anotho. We need to make sure that we oppress so they can build us places. What I want you to take notice of, it says afflict them. Okay. Here is third person masculine singular. When the king of Egypt is talking about them, he's not talking about them. This is English. He's talking about them, okay? Meaning they wrote it in English, so you and I would say the sons of Israel, them. When Yah looks at Israel, he looks at Israel as him. He doesn't look at Israel as them. So what does this tell us? That Yah doesn't look at us as them people. He looks at Israel as what? As him, an individual. That's what Yahweh looks at. And I want to show you several places of that, but we got to move quickly. Okay. So we got the idea now with what they're doing. Okay. Here it is again. The name, I'm going to go over again, just highlighting. Sons. Okay. So he made them. So made serve Egypt. Egypt made the sons of Israel, right? Serve with rigor, okay? He made them super exhausted and terrible, and he made life for them very bitter, okay? And their lives with bondage and hard, with mortar and brick, okay? They had to do a whole bunch of building, okay? And if you note here, brick, here is the bet again, and there's the noon right here again, okay? Okay? So I'm showing you the bet and the noon all the time in all these different words. Then he says, and he did it not only in the cities, but he did it in the fields. They did service in the fields and they did service. To serve means to be a servant, but also he did it with a lot of harshness. Okay. And spoke the king to the midwives. And so he hired some Hebrewisses. Okay. They weren't they weren't Egyptian women. He hired them, the Hebrewisses. Okay. It's a group of people and they were working for him. Okay. And he gave them, and which Yah tells us their shame, their name. And he says their name was Sifra, and the other one was called Puah. The reason why Yah is telling us about these two individual women is simply because he's going to tell you about their character. Okay. One was to be beautiful and fair, and the other one was to be bright and shiny. Okay. So in terms of her being fair, meaning that she was beautiful, also too in her character, she had fairness. She had fairness in her character. And this other woman, Puah, was delightful, but also she had brightness. She would bring light to the situation. These two, but they were hired to be like hit women, to secretly kill the sons of Israel. Okay. So they gave them a mandate that I need you to kill the sons. Okay. That's what I need you to kill. I need you to kill the Banes, the sons, but I need you to let the Bates go. There you go. So here we got the bet and the tav again, which that one had to do with the house up earlier, but it had a little yod right here. But without the yod, it's Baith, and Baith is a daughter, or Bath is a daughter. Okay. And here you got the son again. You got the bet and the noon. Why are you telling me the Hebrew? Because we're going to explain to you what's really going on here. In this word birth stool, this birth stool has a bet and a noon right there. Okay. It's a birth stool, and it's made out of stone. They were sitting on a birth stool called a stone. So every time a woman was to have a child, they were supposed to set up this stone, sit there, and let the woman squat and catch the baby when it comes out. You understand? So they were responsible for help facilitating that. So what he knew that was going on, they were there for that job to kill him, the sons, the individual. Okay. But they want you to let the daughters live. That's what I want you to do. Okay. But then the midwives had a different attitude, of course, and they feared Elohim. Okay. They feared Elohim, and they did not listen to the command of the king of Pharaoh. They did not listen to him. And so after this thing happened, Pharaoh, number 18, said the king of Egypt, he called them and he said to them, why have you not done the thing that done this thing? Why have you done this thing? Why have you saved alive the halaladim? The halaladim are the sons, the children, the male children. Okay. And look, and they said to him that the midwives to the Pharaoh, because the women of the Egyptians are not like the women of the Hebrews. They're two different type of women. Okay. Giving us some insight about how the creator feels, or how they're letting him know on on a down low, that we're not like the women, the Egyptian women, meaning our character is different. So they're given physical attributes, saying, oh, they're lively women. By every time they're about to have a child, we can't get there fast enough. But what they were really saying is our character is not like the Hebrew, not like the Egyptian women. They're low key telling him we're not like them. So, we're not going to be like them. Then they give an example of that, but they're really letting them know we're not like those women. Okay. And so after that, he gets mad and he says, you know what? That's okay. So he commands the people to what? To all of a sudden, I want you now to kill the people. I want you to kill the sons yourselves. So I want you to kill every son that comes out. This is what he tells his people. Kill all the sons. You kill them. Okay. As a result of all this and all these different names, all you're going to keep hearing is about these sons. All you're going to be hearing is about these daughters. All you're going to be hearing about is a daughter, a son, a daughter. That's all you're going to be hearing about. Listen, near his example went out a man, and who went to a daughter of Lewi. He doesn't tell us what her name is. He just said it's a daughter, and said the woman conceived and bore a what? A son. You see? So these words right here, excuse me, I'll write it here in English. The Bath is the daughter is being mentioned, and the Bane is always mentioned as the son. These words are frequently used more than anything. So I asked the creator, like, what is it that you want us to know? Because now you're going to tell us about this son. This son right here is Moshe. Okay. The son of the Levi here, this man right here is called Aram. Don't give us this name right here. Give us later on what his name is. The daughter of the Levi of the Leviim is this woman called Yehoshaphat. Okay. Right. And then she said who he was, and she hid him for 3 months. Then it talks about later that now we mentioned about after she hides him, we hear about another daughter, this thing. And the daughter we're hearing about now is the daughter of Pharaoh. Now we're hearing about his Bath. And we find out about her character. He doesn't tell us her name because doesn't matter. He's letting us know if he would have mentioned the name of her, then it would have got us off of what he wants us to focus on. If he would have gave us the name of the woman who gave birth to Moses at this in particular time in the Torah, it would have threw our scent off from what Yah's trying to tell us. If he would have gave us the name of the man who went to the daughter of the Levite to be Moshe's father, it would have threw our scent off. Yah has put these words in here for us to draw our attention to what he wants us to focus on. And what he wants us to focus on is the Bath, and he wants us to focus on the Bane, the daughter and the sons. That has been Yahweh's intention the whole time. When he promises to bring the children of Israel out of Egypt, he says that I'm going to put gold and silver. I need the women to go into the houses of their neighbors, and I'll predispose them to have them to be favorable towards you. And you'll put this clothing and the gold and the silver, and I need you to put it on your sons and your daughters. You understand? When you come out of Mitzrayim and your sons and your daughters ask you, what is it that why are you doing what you're doing? Are you supposed to tell them what Yahweh has done? When you teach the Torah, you're supposed to teach your sons and your daughters. When you're supposed to give your daughters and your sons to people in marriage, you're supposed to not give your sons and your daughters to different type of people, because they'll take your sons and your daughters away from me. When they were killing their children, he said, you've killed my sons and my daughters. When I'm going to come and get you from the lands that I've scattered you, I've come and release my sons and my daughters. So during this time, Yah tells us about this particular daughter of Pharaoh. He doesn't even give us the name of Pharaoh. If this is a book of names, surely he would tell us what Pharaoh's name is. He's not telling you what Pharaoh's name is he doesn't have to tell us what the character of the person is. He can tell us what the character of the person is by what they do and what their name represents. Pharaoh's name means one, the first letter of his name is the P, which is the mouth, right here in Hebrew, showing you the power of the language. That's the pay. That's the mouth. The last part of his name is right here, the R, Ra, okay? And that means in the Hebrew, a resh and an ayin. And this means evil. The mouth of the evil one in this context. Because what he's doing, he's using wisdom, his wisdom to consult on how to destroy the house of Israel. That's the goal of every king on the face of the earth. If you think about every time he sent Israel somewhere, he was sending them through the wilderness, and they went to through the wilderness and they showed up in different locations. What happened? The king of Moab got, he got upset and was like, I feel threatened by Israel. I need to go hire somebody to curse them so I can go into battle with them and destroy them. When Israel would show up somewhere, the kings of those lands got upset. The king of Og and the king of Bashan. Everyone gets upset when Israel goes there because they know who they are. They know that they're going to replace them. You understand? And that's what these people were upset about. They're upset that these people are growing. They keep growing and growing and growing and growing. And before you know it, we're going to be outnumbered by them. So let's use our wisdom, start asking some questions. So it wasn't just on Pharaoh alone who was coming up with this. He said, let us use counsel on how we can destroy this people. The way that every nation has in the past and in the present has decided and intend on in the future to destroy Israel is by destroying the bane. They're trying to destroy the bane. They're not trying to destroy the Bath. They're not trying to destroy the daughters, because they know that the bane and the Bath are necessary. But in order to build a nation, and I want you to hear me well today, you need both for the nation of Israel. But you can listen to me, you can take the daughters, you can take the Bath of Israel, and you could create your own nation with them. You're not creating Israel when you take the nation, when you take the bane out of Israel. That's why Yah specifically uses the name Bnei Yisrael, the sons of Israel. Every time he identifies him, he says the sons of Israel, because the sons of Israel are the inheritors of the promise. And their names are Reuben, behold the son. Shemo, Yah hears. Levi, Yah has joined himself. Yehuda, Yah's praised. You hear me? Zebulun, Yah dwells. You hear me? Yissachar, my wages for my work that I've done. Don, Yah judges. Asher, Yah's my wealth. God, he's my fortune. He's everything. Naphtali, wrestle with Yah. I've wrestled. You understand? Benjamin, the son of my right hand. Even in his name, Ben Yamin, the son of my right hand. Yosef, to increase and to gather and to add. These are the sons. Ephraim, the one who's fruitful, bountiful. Manasseh, I have forgotten my trouble. These are the sons of Yisrael. He had daughters. He named one was called Dinah. Yah's my judge. Yah judges. You understand? But the family and every name that's on the stones that is in, you hear me? Inside of the tabernacle, on top of the garment that the priest wore, was the name of the sons of Yisrael. Their names are on the cushion, the breastplate, on every single stone. Every son had a name on a stone. Every name had a stone, and every stone had a name. When we get into our land and Yah reestablishes us, Every single name of Israel will be on the 12 gates of the city. Not no name of Peter, Paul, James, Luke, Titus, Marcus, Barnabas, nobody except for the names of Israel. There was 12 names that were put on the stones, on the shoulder pieces of onyx, was the 12 names of Israel according to their birth and according to their number. It's about the sons of Israel. That's who this is about. This is why the nations have decided that let's come together and find a way to destroy these people, because we have to get rid of them. If we get rid of them, we can take their daughters and we can take their sons and we can destroy this thing that Yah has going. You play a vital role in the destiny of this whole entire world. The world is stupid. They don't even understand. If they knew what their destiny was, they wouldn't have done what they've done. Meaning that if they understood that salvation comes through Israel, it's not coming through a savior. It's not coming through one in particular man. It's coming through the sons of Israel. It's not coming through one tribe. It's coming through the sons of Israel. When Yah sent the prophets out, they didn't talk to one tribe. They talked to all of them. The same message over and over and over again is to turn back to the covenant that Yahweh made with your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. He is the Elohim of our fathers. And everything that we have is predicated upon a promise that he made to our fathers. Back to this daughter. This daughter had compassion on Moshe. Doesn't mention her name. It just mentions that she's a daughter. Why did she have compassion? Because she heard a cry of this baby. When she saw it, she opened up and cried. She had compassion on him. So this is one of the children, the sons of the Hebrews. You can have a terrible, evil, wicked parent, and you can have a daughter who's not like her father. Just as Yah has said in Ezekiel 18, it's the son and the father, both of the souls belong to me, and it's whoever sins against me is the one who's going to be put to death. We don't have to be like our parents. You don't have to be like your evil grandfather. You don't have to be like your wicked grandmother. Why are you calling my grandmother wicked? Because Yah tells us that our parents and our ancestors were wicked. Anybody that doesn't do what the Torah says is wicked. Those are not my words. That's what he said. If you don't follow the instructions of the Holy One of Israel, you are wicked. Yah speaks to the wicked and he tells them over and over and over and over again, I don't want you to die. Why would you die? What does he say right here? This is just a quick thing right here to prove what Yahweh says is true. Here's a man that was a king of Israel. He wrote this and he says in verse number 4, those who abandon Torah praise the wicked. If you'd have come to do Shabbat and you said, I wanted to go and leave the Torah's instructions, you praise the wicked. If you're making some kind of compromise and you leave the instructions because you want to be friends with somebody, you praise the wicked. There's another half of that verse, of that line, but those who keep Torah. See, you and I have a choice. Either we can praise the wicked or we can fight them. But the key ingredient to both understanding here is that you and I can either abandon the Torah or you can keep it. We don't have to do what everyone else does. So what it tells us is that you and I have a choice to make. Evil people don't understand justice. They don't. You want them to understand it because they tell you we're going to get you your civil rights and I'm going to get you a holiday and I'm going to get you time off for Martin Luther King's birthday so you could get off. They don't understand what real justice is. That's why they have a problem when you tell them Yah's coming to judge the earth and kill everybody on it who doesn't follow what he says. They don't understand Yah's justice. They don't understand equity. They don't understand that if a person does something, they got to be paid back for what they've done. They don't understand it. Matter of fact, they don't understand it so well that they don't even understand why they're here. We've been sent into exile because of our attitude and what we have done in us abandoning Yahweh's Torah. What is it to understand? How do you and I get this understanding? He's going to tell us. But those who seek Yahweh understand everything. They understand everything. Evil people don't understand justice. There are those who will seek Yahweh understand everything. Period. Let me tell you why understanding is important. Let me tell you why the Bath is important. Let me explain to you why the Holy One of Israel is interested in you and I knowing about these few little words. And trust me, we don't have enough time to go into every single word that the Holy One of Israel has in the book of Shemot. But what we do have is the time to go over what he did show me that I want you to show my people what I'm talking about. Show them. Go over it. Let them know what it is that I'm looking for. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
We began to study off when we talked about these two letters, which is the bet and the noon. Okay, here it is right here, the bet and the noon. Okay, the bet and the next letter is the noon. Okay, the bet is represented by this picture here and the noon is represented by this picture right here. Okay, it looks like a seed. The action of this particular word, this is what they call a root. Okay, so a root, like a root on of a tree. Okay, it's a root. It's a root of a tree. It's a root of a plant. It's a root. Okay, so when you look at the root, we're looking at the root of something. Okay, we're looking at the origin of it. We're looking at the how it was established. Okay, and why the Creator chose to call a son Bane. And why did he decide to call a daughter Bath? Every single person on this Zoom, YouTube Live is a son and a daughter of the Holy One of Yisrael. Let me explain to us today why he chose to say that. Calling someone a son and a daughter is not good enough because the letter S doesn't tell you anything, not in English. You know, it's so bad in English now that you can say the word son, S-O-N, and they got it confused with S-U-N. You got people saying that the son in the book of Malachi is really talking about this son that he's supposed to rise with righteousness in his wings. Because they don't understand. You see how they're doing that? You see how they're mistranslating? Because if they could get you on the abstract, you move away from what is real. I'm teaching in this form right now. So if this is your first time hearing me, is he angry? No, I'm not angry. What I'm telling you is that the Holy One Israel teaches his people with force and with intensity, because that's the only way that you and I are going to understand what he says. When Moshe was talking to the children of Israel and he was teaching them, he wasn't talking to them in a what you would call a call stem. He wasn't talking to them in a call stem, a very simple way. He wasn't talking to them in a call, which is a very simple, hey, you know what? This is what the Creator said. No, he's not talking in a call. He's talking in a PL, a very forceful way with intensity. You get it? I have to teach this way. Why are you yelling at us? Because I was supposed to. Why? Because Yah wants you to understand the action of a son, and he wants to tell you what it is. So the action of this in particular root is to build. Did not the children of Israel build cities? Did they not build Pithom in our Torah portion? Did they not build Ramesses? Did they not build the London in England? Did they not build the United States of America? Did they not build other civilizations? Have they not built other countries and cities? Did they not build the White House? Did they not build the Pentagon? Who do you think built this country? You think it's on accident that they chose the sons and the daughters of Israel? When they brought us to this country, they had a purpose. We're going to use them to build. The letter Bet has the idea of a tent that you dwell in. It's a dwelling. And the one who dwells in the tent is the family. Period. Okay. And this here says a tent panel. The tent was made of panels. Okay. And it's going to explain to us here in a second of what type it was made from. Okay. What kind of materials. But the abstract of this is intelligence, because you need a certain level of intelligence in order to build a tent. If you don't build the tent the right way, the tent will fall. Inside of this tent is a pole to hold it up. And also what's attached to the tent are guy ropes that you put in the ground to make sure that the tent doesn't what? It doesn't fall. You understand? So there's a whole bunch of different components to a tent that you need to understand in building the family. There's ropes, there's tent pegs, okay, which we'll get into later. So we know that. So it's a picture of the tent. Okay. The noon that looks like a sperm cell is a picture of seed. And man does have seed that looks like a little squiggly little sperm cell. When you have a plant or a sprout, it has a little sprout that comes off on the end of it. It looks just like that. That goes into the ground. Okay. And so it's a sprouting of the seed. And the seed represents a what? Continuity as the seed continues the next generation. So the Pharaoh was trying to cut off this. That's what he wants to get rid of. He wants to take the noon out and just put the tav in there. That's all he wants. He doesn't, because that's what a daughter is. The daughter is a bath. Okay. He wants to take the noon. He wants to take the seed out of the picture, because the seed is what's causing the children of Israel to grow and to increase in their numbers and to become strong and to become mighty. But he didn't recognize and realize that Israel's strength does not come from within Israel. The seed that Yahweh gave us is blessed. It's blessed because Yahweh said to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, I will bless you, and I will increase your descendants, your seed. That's the blessing. Every time I've been telling everybody for the last months, and I get a lot of pushback on this, people tell me how blessed they are. They got a new house, they got a new car, they got a new job. You know, they went on a trip. But you know what you can't, do you know what you're not blessed? You're not pulling nothing from the ground, and you're limited to how many people and how many children you can have. You can't even have your kids that you want to have. They've been inhibiting the children of Israel through abortion, through birth control, through jobs, finance. If you don't have enough money, you can't have a family that you want. But you got the nerve and the audacity to say that you're blessed? Yah blessed Abraham's seed, so it can continue. The family will continue, and it continue to grow and to outnumber every single person on the face of this earth. That's how you know that you're blessed, when things that come out of the ground and out of your body and out of your animals continue to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. That's the blessing. Your blessing has to do with the seed that's planted in the fields, that comes out of those fruit trees, that comes out of a woman's body, that comes out of the ground, that comes out of an animal. This is the reason why they're trying to destroy Yisrael. They're trying to inhibit the blessing and the maximum growth of the production and the yield. Because the more there's Israel, the more there will be righteousness. The more of Israel there's going to be more of holiness. The more of Israel, the more they're going to force us to do what they want us to do according to their Elohim. And we have to stop it. We have to put an end to this seed because it's blessed. The combined meaning of this letter means the continuing of the house. That's what it means. You're trying to continue the house. This is how a house is continued. It's continued through the birth of the sons and the daughters. The house here is giving us a physical representation so we can understand how things are built. The tent was constructed of woven goat hair. Over time, the sun bleaches it and it weakens the goat hair, is necessitating the continual replacement. So once it's finished with its responsibility, once it gets old and it can no longer do its job by blocking out the sun and it's just withering away, it's time for that in particular panel to be replaced. There's a natural process where things have to be replaced. This is what you call life. We're going to have sons and we're going to have daughters, and then those sons and the daughters are supposed to repeat the process. And every time there's a new, the one son is getting old. I'm old now. I'm supposed to continue my family line. I'm supposed to do it through my sons and my daughters. I have my sons to continue my house, and my daughters are given to continue someone else's house. She's supposed to be the one, and it's ironic, but there are no accidents. I'll put it in a beautiful color for our sisters. The bet has a dot in it. That's what the B sound for the letter bet. That little dot right there gives you the hard B sound, but it also represents a pregnancy, the seed. She's the one who holds the seed inside of the womb. The seed is in the house. That's where the seed is put inside the house to protect, just like a mother protects her baby while the seed is in her womb. It's a wound, it's protection. That's why Yah puts us in a house to protect us from the elements of the stuff that's around us. The storms, the sun when it's too hot, the predators, the enemies, everything. But there's this idea of replacement. So when you get upset and you want to have eternal life, let's just say we used to all be on this eternal life gig. I want to live forever. You know what I'm about to tell us? You're selfish. You're a selfish person, and you don't understand the cycles of life. What would this world be like if there was never any birth and any death? They go hand in hand. So I'm supposed to see the same batch of lions that I saw 100 years ago. Where's the beauty in that? Who are we to determine how long something should live? What right did somebody gave us to tell us that there shouldn't be any cycles to fruits and vegetables, where the new comes in and the old leaves? Who told us that you and I don't supposed to die? Who told us that lie? When it clearly says in the book of Genesis that they were going to die, by the way. They just died before they were supposed to. They were going to die. We see this in the book of Isaiah. It says, where my people were going to live at the days of a tree. Then those who die underneath 100 years old died as if they were young. Whoever told us that you and I have a right to determine what the cycles of life should be? We're selfish. And we don't understand the plan and the purpose of our Creator. Yah renews the earth every single day. Every day something's dying. Every day something's being birthed. Every day there's a brand new day. Every single day. The clouds where they are today and the atmospheric pressure is not the same and has never been the same that has ever been at this in particular time, at this in particular place. Everything is different. And that's the beauty of Yahweh. There's not a day that's similar to another day. There's not a time that's been like any other time. Every single day has been brand new. This is not a game. This is not a board game where everything stays the same. If we understand who we are and we understand what our mandate is and we understand how Yah works, we would be better apt to do what he asks us to do, and we would understand what his intentions are. His intention for Israel is to continue to build the family. The seer called Balaam said, I hope that my death would be like the death of Israel. What did he see that you and I can't see? Well, let me tell you what he did see. He said, I wish I had the death that they have. Why? Because Israel doesn't die. Israel continues to go through the cycles of life with their descendants and their children. I teach my son teaches his son, he teaches his son, and if I have been faithful to Yah, I will be able to stand before Yah again. That's why he tells us to say sorry for your ancestors. Why? Because perhaps maybe you and I were the people that were standing in front of him, and perhaps maybe during time, you and I have been the ones who have sinned against him. He says, for your crimes. Say sorry for their crimes. Why? I thought I wasn't responsible for their crimes. Through time, Israel has been disrespecting and disobeying the Elohim of the heavens and the earth. We have to accept what role we play in his world. This world belongs to him. You and I are just residents passing through like everybody else. King David said, I'm nothing but a stranger in the earth. That's all you are. You're just passing through. And when you pass through, you have a responsibility to the Holy One of Israel to do what? To build the family. To build this family of Israel. To build this man. To build this one man, this family. He's not talking just to individual 12 tribes. He's saying build the Israel. Israel is a family. It's one family. Okay. So Every year, each year, these women would take a new panel approximately 3 feet by 3 feet in width and length, okay? The old panel is removed and being recycled into the wall of the floor. So, what was being used? So they used everything. They weren't throwing stuff away. They try to find a way to recycle it and use it. Do you see the idea, the concept of being recycled? You're still part of the tent, which now you're playing a different role. Now you're no longer a panel, no longer you're a roof. Now you're part of the floor. We still need you, but you're there now. Then you're going to wither away, and then we're going to start all over again. And the new strip is added to the tent. Since the tent is only replaced one small piece at a time, the tent essentially lasts forever. That's the house of Israel. Yah uses physical concepts, okay, and things to tell us spiritual things and what we need to understand. You can't have the spiritual without the physical. Yah manifests what he wants us to understand through the physical. That's why he uses words to give us understanding. So we know now that it's a tent. We understand that the tent panel, there are many similarities between, I'm right here. Don't get lost. I'm right here on A. There is many similarities between building a tent out of goat hairs and the building of the house of sons. The idea of building a house with sons can be seen in Genesis 33. This is where Yah was telling him, I want to build the house. Just as the tent panels are added and continue the tent, the sons are born to continue the family. That's why they were born. So to build a house of Israel, praise the Holy One of Israel. Okay. So listen. Oh, where's it at? Someone lost? Did I get lost? Okay, go down here. Okay, here it is. So it's a continuum of the family line. That's what Yah wants to do. So Pharaoh's trying to get rid of the family line. And the tent is continually being renewed with new panels. The family is continually being renewed with new sons. That's the whole idea. You understand? A son, one who continues the family. Okay? A son, a bane. Now let's talk about a daughter. Our kotis, our bath, a banoth. Okay? A daughter, the name for banoth, okay, is also used for a village. It's recognized as a village that resides outside the city walls as a daughter of a city. That's why they call it the daughter of Zion. There's daughters. There's other little villages that are outside the main, in particular, city. So this is what you'll see, this word banoth being used as a village outside of the city walls, okay? But also, too, it shows you all the different times that is used. It's used for, an apple. It could be used for children. It could be used for company, so forth and so on. Okay. Here's one of our things. It's called a taven. Taven. Okay. But it's really T-E-B-E-N. Taven. Okay. It's missing a little dot right here because it's not the first letter. It's a grammatical rule. But what did Pharaoh say that he was going to take away from the children of Israel when Moshe came to give the message? Take away their straw. Take away their straw. Let them go seek for straw. And he did this to them as a punishment because Moshe told Pharaoh and the elders, and Aharon went to Pharaoh and said, Yah wants us to leave Mitzrayim. Okay. He wants us to leave. And I'm going to tell you why he wanted them to leave in a second. But I want to stay on task. So the straw was used to build and construct things. And you used it, and it was used as materials that were used to build. Okay. So you can see again, the bet and the noon in the word straw. It's right here. So banoth, daughters, and here's sons, all share the same root. So this is why this is used. So it's not on accident. So what he was looking for, if Pharaoh was looking for them to do, instead of them building a house and a family, what I want you to build is my cities. And I want you to build my structures. And I want you to build all those things. And my legacy. And I want you to build my houses. And I want you to build my institutions. And I want you to build everything I want you to build. And so you can see a direct reflection of that in what happened to the children of Israel when they went into exile. That right now, instead of us building our families, they're building their structures. And now they're done with us. There's no reason to have Israel no more. So now the only thing left for us to do is to kill them. There's no reason for them. We don't need them to build. We have all the information. We got the technology. We learned everything we needed to learn from them. Our people used to be into construction. We used to build our own cities. We know all of our journeymans are gone. We don't have skills no more that we use. We're not electricians anymore. We're not masons anymore. We're not masonaries anymore. We're not contractors anymore. Not on a large level. We're not plumbers anymore. We don't use our hands now. They took everything out of our hands, and now they put everything inside of our mind. So they've literally tied our hands. So right now, because they take that concept, because when you take something out of someone's hand, then you take away their ability to build. And when you take away their ability to build, you take away their ability to understand how things work. We don't even understand how to build a community. We don't understand a lot of different things. We don't understand nothing. It was taken away from us. We don't understand our language. So if you don't know your language, you can't build your community because you're building upon abstract concepts that won't work. That's why Israel has never been brought back together. That's why you have all these different camps all over the place. That's why you got so many people saying so many different things. It's because Israel doesn't have the ability to build, because Israel lacks the ability to bana, meaning to build. And I'm going to show you what bana means. It's not only build, but it also means to understand. So if you take away a person's ability to build and from their hands, you lose knowledge and you lose understanding. You see? So your mind now is full of other things. Your mind is full of TV. Your mind is full of TV shows. Your mind is full of basketball, where you watch other people use their hands and they shoot the ball. You're more impressed with that. And this is the reason why people don't want to go back to the land. Everybody I have an argument with on Facebook and Twitter and all these different places, the number one thing they say is, we're going to heaven. We're not going, it's not about the land. It is about the land, because that's where you're going to use your hands. That's where you're going to be doing some reaping and some sowing. That's where you're going to have to maintain life for animals and plants. That's where you're going to be taking a basket and bringing it to the temple and bowing down before the Holy One and saying, thank you, Torah of Yahweh, on the Shabbat and Rosh Chodesh and all the other festivals. They don't want to do that because they have been taken hostage in their minds. They don't know how to use their hands anymore. So that's why he wanted to take away their straw. Okay. Because he said, you guys are saying that you got time. Yep. Absolutely. They do hate seeing us on a construction job. They hate you and I being out there, because if you know how to build something, and I'll tell you, one of the most regretful things I have, I owned all kind of businesses, franchises and everything. And do you know, I regret to this day that I've never had the ability I had the ability, but I didn't take advantage of learning how to build. I wanted to go into construction, but I never did. I thought it was beneath me. That's what I thought. I thought construction, I'll leave that to the workers. There's things that need to be fixed in my house. If I would have known, and I know how to do some things with my hands, don't get me wrong. I can do floors, I can do sheetrock, I can do it all, but I'm talking about, and I've taken classes to build a house all the way from the ground up, but I never put it into practice because I didn't think it was important. I didn't think it was essential. I didn't think it was necessary. You see, and that's the problem. Building your home is one of the most important things that you should know how to do. And that's not only physically, it's not only spiritually, it's also how you do it with your children and your family. So we got this concept of building. Now, let me show you what it takes to use that concept. So we know it's about building. Okay. There it is. The woman says she's going to take a stone. The stone for her stone was going to be used to what they sat on. This is what they said in Avan, a stone. This is the reason why there's 12 stones on the breastplate of the high priest, because it has to do with understanding. And that's why he puts their name on it, okay? That's why he tells them the thumb has to do with what? Bahan, when he tells them to anoint the thumb of the priest. Why? To give him understanding. Well, why would you say understanding? Because that's the word that I wanted to finally bring you to, because those who abandon the Torah, they praise the wicked, but those who keep the Torah are the ones who fight them. Since when you talk about a building, you talk about a structure, okay? You're talking about a framework, okay, that has to be put in place. And you just can't just take stuff and start doing it. You need to understand things. This is the reason why this word right here, it's to build a pattern. Anytime you need a pattern, you need to be able to have some sense of intelligence. You need a plan. So an abstract of intelligence. So what you need is you need skill of the mind and the hands to build. That's why this word right here, bone, means a plan. That's the plan. Are you planning your family out? If you're single and you're a young man, are you planning your family? I tell my son all the time, what's your plan? Are you just abstractly going to this and hitting and missing and you're just saying things, but you don't actually have nothing written out? You don't have no plan. If you don't have a plan, then you lack intelligence and you lack skill, because what you're saying is, I'm going to do something and I don't have no recourse. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what the materials are. I don't know what pattern to do it. You haven't even sat down and figured out how you want it to be built. You just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff from Home Depot and just brought it to your house and say, okay, let's put it together. That's called being stupid. And that's a fool. Yah says, I want you to use some intelligence when you're building your family. You need intelligence in your mind and in your hands because they go together. It takes intelligence to build anything. So before a tent is constructed, you have to decide in any construction, you have to decide the location and its orientation. You got to know for sure, like, where am I going to put it? Where are we going to live? What's going to be there? What's going to happen there? So you're asking a lot of questions. Okay. So you have to really, literally have to, what? You have to consider everything. You got to look at the weather. You got to look at the view, the size. You got to go through some planning. And that's one of the things that we're not doing. So as you can see, again, those letters, a bet and a noon, is in the word intelligence. Bet and noon is in building. To build is called banah. You understand? Stone, they're right here. The bet and the noon is in stone. You use stones to build. Let's go somewhere else and tie this up so we can move on to our next segment. Now that Yah has told us what you have to do, now we can see the reason why he's trying to destroy what we're trying to do. The bin right here is understand. Is the plan. You got to have understanding. The tent is usually divided into two parts, okay? One side is for the females and the other side is for the males. The wall makes this distinction. So as you can understand, you have to understand the difference between the two. There's this ability to discern, to know the difference between both things. So in this case, remember Pharaoh said, let us use wisdom. And what they concluded was this. They sat and they actually wasn't like, well, let's just kill the males and leave the females. They had a plan for the females, for the Bath, just like they got a plan for the sons. What were their plans for the daughters? There's plans for the daughters to make them servants. That's what they were going to make them. And they were also going to use them for service. They could have made them into sex slaves, which they've always done. Like they've always done to our daughters. You guys know this, right? For their use, for their service. Cook for us, clean for us, and give us sexual pleasure. Period. And if you have a son, we're going to kill him. You have a daughter, we'll use her as a slave, just like we did with you. Doesn't matter what their color, didn't care about color. These were Egyptians. Remember, they couldn't tell if Moshe was an Egyptian or he's a Hebrew. They couldn't tell. You understand? So the idea is to put them in servitude. For what? For how long? Forever. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. It's because if you get rid of the son, you're going to get rid of the strength that goes with the seed. the ability to reproduce the same kind of seed. You and I are different. We're different than other people. Our character is supposed to be different. The word for discernment is the word bin. They call it bin-ha or bin-ya. Is to understand, to make a distinction between something. Having understanding. You understand? So this is the reason why. This is the reason why they're doing what they're doing. Somebody got their hand up. I didn't see it. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Oh no, I was just on the part you're talking about. It's important how we teach our bloodline how to build. Is that just for the father to teach the sons, or the father to teach the whole family?
You got to teach. That's an excellent question. It's both. When he talks about sons, B'nai Israel, your son comes to you and asks you. The reason why he says sons is because, number one, he's the seed. He's supposed to carry on this. Okay. The daughters are learning from the fathers and the mothers. The mothers are the number one. The mothers are directly the teacher to the children. They're the ones with the closest relationship. That's why it's important that the women are the ones who that's why the woman has to give over to the father of being the leader in the home, because the father is the one who's responsible for giving the information. He gives the information to the mother so she can dispense it to the children. When there's an issue in the family, they don't go to the mother, they go to the father. The wife is supposed to go to the husband. When there's conflict in the house, she doesn't make that decision on her own. When there's something that the kids did, she's not supposed to hide that from her husband. She's supposed to say, you know what, this issue came up. She don't have to bring the kids in the room. This is what it is. This is what I see. This is what do you want to do? What do you think we should do? And tell you her opinion. This is what it is. I see this. And you ask her, not as you're underneath your feet. You ask her because she's supposed to be there to counsel. You tell me your counsel on it. You tell me the situation, and I want to hear what your counsel is. See, we've got away from our role and our responsibility. Our responsibility as men is to be able to sit and govern and to rule, but not from a place of being an oppressor and to squeeze people. We don't, that's when you and I are supposed to do that. So when our wives are coming to us and they're telling us they're supposed to come and bring any issue to us and let us know what the situation is, so you and I can decide which way we're going to handle it. And you want their input because they're the one who's closer to the children. And this is one of my own faults that I'll confess. I'll be telling my wife, so I see something I don't like. And she said, well, this is what I always felt like she's trying to protect them. I said, well, you got a closer relationship with them. Of course she has a closer relationship with them. She cooks for them. She cleans for them. She does everything for them. So who is she going to be closer to? She's going to be closer than them. So, but what is her responsibility to me now? Oh, well, her responsibility is for her to come to me. But if I'm shutting her out and I'm like, hey, well, they're listening to you, but they're not listening to me. Well, it's not them that's not listening to me. It's her that's not listening to me. Because they're supposed to listen to her. Overall, because she listens to me. You understand? So, but if I'm pushing her out and I'm not listening to her, I'm not taking none of her advice, then why would she come to me? And why would she put her confidence in me? If every time I turn around, she's trying to do something and I'm saying, no. And she's trying to let me know why she's trying to do the way she's doing it. It's not just you're always going to get a yes out of me. And it's not always you're going to get a no out of me. But that's the relationship that we have to build. There's a lot of things that I see in my children that I'm trying to get her to see. And she has to get over to that. And I'm not talking bad about my wife or my relationship or my kids. I'm telling you that I know what goes on inside of a house. But we have to build. This is about us building our sons and our daughters. I'm building my daughter right now. Her boyfriend, I talk to him. I need a relationship with him to let him know what it's going to be. And he's open. He's listening. That's good. But I can't put it on him. I got to put it on her because she's under my authority. So that's how it works. So yes, you're right. We have to teach our children, all of our children. All of our children need to be sitting at our feet when we're talking about the Torah. Or they all need to be sitting at the table when you're talking about the Torah. They all need to be, when mama's grocery shopping, they need to be there to find out how to grocery shop. When you're sitting around, you're talking about a relationship, you better tell everybody what it's going to be. And this is the house that we're building because we want our house to continue. So if you go out and you find somebody who don't want to follow the Torah, you're deliberately destroying our house. My kids know that. And you should tell your children the same thing. And why? Because we're talking about the future generations. Because you and I are not so selfish to believe that it's about us. It's about that which is supposed to come, because Yahweh created human beings on the earth to give him praise and to give him honor. That's why I open it up today with giving him praise. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. He doesn't receive enough praise from us. He doesn't. He does not receive enough praise from us. He does, because for some reason or another, we have decided that we're going to build and have our own plans. He condemns Israel because they want to have their own plans. They're choosing what they want to do. They come up with what they're going to do, not what he wants them to do. And that's where the problem has been and is. They have their own plans. They're going to build the family they want to. They're going to marry who they want to marry. They're going to eat what they want to eat. They're going to celebrate what they want to celebrate. But Yah tells us something. What does he tell us on this wonderful day that these people out here are celebrating right now? What does he say? He tells us something. Chapter number 10, Jeremiah. Hear the word Yahweh speaks to the house of Israel. Here is what Yahweh says. Don't learn the way of the Goyim. Do not be frightened by astrological signs. Even if the Goyim are afraid of them, don't be afraid of that. For the customs of the people are nothing. They cut down a tree in a forest, and a craftsman works it with his axe. They deck it with silver and gold, and they fix it with hammer and nails so they won't move. Like a scarecrow in a cucumber patch, it cannot move. It has been carried. It has to be carried because it cannot walk. Don't be afraid of it. It can do nothing bad. Likewise, unable to do anything good. What does he say? There is no one like Yahweh. You are great and your name is mighty. There's no one like Yahweh. There is no one on the face of this earth like Yahweh. And we have to be careful to remember that. What are we supposed to teach our children? What are we supposed to build? We're supposed to build character in our children. Are we building that character in our children? Are we showing them what Yahweh says? Are we teaching them what he says? Are we confessing as children of the people who did not do what he say? What are we doing? Or do we have our own plans? Let me show you something right quick. One of the things that Yah wants us to understand, and it's tough. And I'm gonna read it to you right quick. It's in 29:9. That's what he says. He says, and you read it for us, Kent. What does it say? Can you see it? If you make yourselves stupid, you will stay stupid. That's what he said. Is that what he said? Can you guys see my screen? Can you see
Yes.
it? If you make yourself stupid, you're going to what? Just stay stupid. If you blind yourselves, you will stay blind. You see? You guys got to understand what Yah's talking about. And in this text, he's talking about how Israel decided that He said, you're drunk, but you're not drunk from wine. You're staggering, but not from strong liquor. What have they done? They have bought into different ideas. They never think about the Holy One of Israel. Never. I'm going to read some things to you. I read that because I want you to know that Yah is our Savior. Okay? I want you to understand that I'm going to read some things to you that might disturb you. But it's necessary that I read it to you. But he wanted us to know, if you decide that you're going to be dumb and stupid, then you're going to stay stupid. I don't want you to be. I want you to know the truth. I talk to you that way because, and I'm speaking as Yah would say to us, because my people are dumb and they're stupid. They are. Okay? Well, listen what he says. The way of the righteous is level. Righteous one, you smooth the path for the righteous. Remember, we opened up talking about the path? Yah has made the way for Israel to be smooth. Okay. Like it's already set out. Okay. Because that's what righteousness is. It's a very level way. That's the way of righteousness. It means it's balanced. The following the way of your judgments. We put our hope in you, because that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to follow his rulings. That's what his judgments are. It's the way that he sees things, the way that he rules. So it's his rulings. Like you say that this is this, and yeah, that's what's true. Okay, we put our hope in you. The desire of all of our soul is to do what? Somebody tell me. What's the desire of all of our soul?
Remember you and your name.
This is in Isaiah chapter number 26, verse number 8. The desire of our soul is to remember you and your name. You cannot remember Yah's name, and you cannot remember, and when it talks about remember him and his name, why remember him and his name? Because Yah's name is, I showed to you that his name is full of mercy, compassion, loving kindness, and his name means I exist. I'm the one. I will be. I will be what I need to be. I am. Everything that's happening right now is because of Yah. Whether it be good or bad, Yah has his hand on it. If anybody dies, it's because Yah says they have to die. There's no chance. It's all Yah. If you ate today, it's because Yah wanted to put food in your stomach. If you can see today, it's because Yah said you can see. If you're in pain today, it's because Yah said that you're going to be in pain today. Yah has put pain upon his people like he did in our Torah portion. Because of what he wanted to do in sending the children of Israel out of Mitzrayim, Paro decided, I'm going to make their life even harder now. Because I don't want them to believe the lie. And the lie is that Yah wanted them to come out and worship him. The desire of our soul should be to remember Yahweh and his name. And it says, my soul desires you when? At night. My spirit seeks you at dawn. When your judgments are here on the earth, the people in the world will learn what righteousness is. That's when they're going to know. Nobody knows what righteousness is. They say righteousness was by someone dying on a cross. That's not true. It's about Yahweh's judgments. When they're here on earth, the people will learn what righteousness is. Even if, here's the part that I want to show you, because I told you who the wicked are. The wicked are the ones who won't listen to Yahweh. The wicked is the one who won't give in to what he says. He says, even if pity is shown to the wicked, he still doesn't learn what righteousness is. So Yah's not trying to send somebody to die on the cross to show pity and compassion. I hope you hear what he's saying. If I was to show pity to the wicked, he still wouldn't learn what righteousness is. Never heard that before, have you? He won't learn what it is. I could show pity. So what is Yah telling us? Yah's telling us today that I will not accept the wicked. Accepting the wicked goes against everything that Yah represents. I'm not accepting the wicked. I'm going to kill the wicked. I'm going to destroy the wicked. But the wicked doesn't have to be destroyed. The wicked are going to be destroyed because what? Because they abandoned the Torah. The wicked, and who he's talking about is his people. This is not written to just the people of the world. This is for Israel. Yah says there's wicked people among his people. You understand? So even if I show pity is shown to the wicked, he doesn't learn what righteousness is. And listen, in the land of uprightness, because that's where you and I are going, he will still act wrongly and fail to see the majesty of Yahweh. What's the majesty of Yahweh? What is his majesty? Is it a spiritual majesty? What is it? What in the land of the uprightness? What majesty is he talking about? Yahweh is telling us that the majesty and the glory, the Kavod of Yahweh, the heaviness of the responsibility. Oh, you better hear what I'm saying. The majesty of Yahweh is what they call the Kavod. Hebrew for glory, the weight. That means that when you talk about weight, you're talking about the scales of justice. Okay, so you got an evil person, he would allow the scales to go down here and up here, and it would never be any balance right here. He's still that stupid. He wouldn't know what Yahweh's judgments are. So what is Yah doing for us right now? Yah is teaching us about his judgments. He's teaching us about his Torah. He's trying to see if you and I are going to seek him. He's trying to see if you and I are going to remember him in his name, or we're going to forget it. He's trying to see if you and I will understand what his name means. He doesn't want to know if you desire him or you desire other things. It's a fair deal. But the wicked, if they had the pity, they still don't learn. I think Kent said it earlier. He said, you know, I got a book. I'm not going to go into the Torah. I'm going to talk about their dumb religion. And when I talk to him about it, I'm not doing that because I'm trying to get them to understand anything. I'm just trying to show how foolish they are. Because you can show pity, and they're still not going to learn what righteousness is. Because in the land, because that's where righteousness is going to be, in the land of uprightness, he will still act wrongly and fail to see the majesty of Yahweh. Because Yahweh will be in the land. So God doesn't want a wicked person in the land. These people are no-go. They don't go to the land. Yahweh, our Elohim, you raised your hand, but they still didn't see. Yet with shame, they will see your zeal for your people. Yes, fire will what? Destroy your enemies. Yes. Yah has zeal for us. He raised his hand. When he's talking about, he raised his hand. Yah raised his hand to call us out of Egypt. You understand? That's what he did. He called us out of Egypt. And he says, listen, here's one thing. I don't want to miss this. Number one, Yah says that I'm going to destroy, you're going to destroy with fire, you're going to destroy your enemies. Yahweh, that's the Yahweh, you will grant us peace. So we're going to get the shalom that you're participating in today, but you're really going to get it. You're going to get the rest, because all we have done, you have done for us. Okay. Yahweh, see where I told you he's in charge of everything? Because of all we have done, you have done for us. Everything that you and I are doing is because he's done for us. So him even revealing his name to us is something he's done for us. And you said, well, he just gave it to me. No, he didn't. He gave it to those who want to hear it. Our Elohim, because that's what he is, Yahweh, our Elohim, other lords beside you have ruled us. Okay. But only you do we invoke by name. What name? The Yod, the He, the Wah, and the He. Period. That's the only name. And because they understood that there was not another name that's supposed to go upon a person's lips, if they were to follow Yah, that's one of his judgments. Listen carefully. You and I are never supposed to mention the name of any other Elohim. You and I are not supposed to continue to profane his name. Even though you and I are in a state of being profaned, you and I are not to profane his name. Exodus chapter number 23, verse number 13. We'll go over it again and again and again. 23:13 says this. You need to pay attention to everything I've said. Everything I've said to you. Everything I've said to you. Everything that I've said to you. Okay? Remember we just saw that he said, we're going to not invoke anyone else's names. He said here, do not invoke the names of other gods or even let them be heard crossing your lips. That's not a suggestion. That's not a suggestion. That is not a suggestion. You understand? That's what Yahweh says. Okay? There's something I want to share with you before we close. I'm going to show you something that the Holy One of Israel had revealed. Sometimes goes right over our head. You know, Yahweh told Aharon, or he sent Aharon to Moshe because Moshe said that I have a speech impediment. I can't do what you want me to do. Right? And I don't have the ability. Yah says, I made the mouth. I formed the mouth. I formed the deaf. I formed the blind. I take this. I give people sight. I'm the one who do all these things. He made Yahweh angry, and Yahweh got angry with him. He said, okay, well, your brother's coming. Your brother will speak for you, and he'll be you. He'll be your mouthpiece, and you will be me when you go talk to Pharaoh. Yah is to us. Yah is speaking to us through Moshe. I know I've been talking about sons and daughters, but I want to tell you about Moshe right quick. Moshe is the leader of the children of Israel. Moshe, drawn out, that's what his name means, to draw out, is someone who wasn't perfect. Yah was going to kill him because he didn't circumcise his younger son. Okay. If he was going to kill Moshe because he didn't circumcise his son. It's in chapter number 4, verse 22. Okay. Moshe had asked a lot of questions because he didn't think he had the ability to carry out this mission. So he used whatever he could, which was his speech. And he didn't have the words. He said, I don't have the right words. I'm not a spokesperson. I never had words before today. I didn't know how to speak, and I don't know how to speak now. I think a lot of times people, I know it was a learning disability for him, and he was probably slow of speech. He said his tongue was heavy. He couldn't speak. Could that have been because they had to hide him when he was a child, and you couldn't, what did they do to prevent people from hearing him? Babies cry all the time. Did they tape his mouth up, or did they put their hand over his mouth and did his tongue from crying and so forth and not being able to speak that caused him a speech impediment? Who knows? It's all conjecture, but it's reasonable to think about. It's one of the ideas came across my mind. Moshe made Yahweh angry because he believed that he didn't have the right words to say to Yahweh's people. He made Yahweh angry because he wanted to make him an excuse why he couldn't go. And actually, he didn't tell Yah to send anyone else. He told Yah to go by him, do it by himself. That's what he told Yah. You go by your hand. You don't need me. That's what he told Yah. And Yah got angry with him because he said that. See, what made Yah angry is that Moshe did not want to do what Yahweh wanted him to do because he was afraid. And he was using his own deficiencies and inefficiencies to give a reason why he couldn't do what he wanted him to do. He used a disability to say, I can't do what you want me to do. He used what he felt about himself, his inadequacy, to say that he couldn't do what Yahweh wanted him to do. And that made Yahweh angry because he wanted Yahweh to do something that Yahweh asked him to do. Okay. So this man, and I could talk to us about where you and I will fall short with that as well. Okay. But that's a whole nother day. We'll get back to it. Moshe is the man that Yah chose to speak to face to face. Yah has never spoken to any other person this way. This conversation that Moshe is having with Paro is through Aharon. That's who is being used. Yah is using Moshe to speak to Aharon, and Aharon is the one who's talking to the elders, to the children of Israel, and to Paro. You understand? So when we hear Moshe spoke to Pharaoh, understand that Yah was giving him the words to speak to Aharon to tell him what Yahweh wanted him to do. Okay? So in this case, now they're standing before Pharaoh. And Moshe and Aharon came and said, who? This is Aharon saying, here is what Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel says. Okay? Within that, everyone online knows that Yahweh is our Elohim. He's Israel's Elohim. He's the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. He came to reveal himself to us, to tell us, and that he didn't reveal himself to anybody else the way he's revealing himself to us. Let my people go, which is a mistranslation. It's not let my people go. This is not what Yah said. He did not say, let my people go. This is a complete mistranslation. Yah uses the word called shalach, mean to send my people away. That's what I want you to do, okay? Send my people away, not let them go. Let is asking like, hey, let my people go. Like he can't get them to take his hands off of them. That ain't true. Yah's not asking him to let my people go. He's telling him, send my people, send them out, okay? And then, so listen what he says, so that they can celebrate a festival in the desert to honor me, okay? But Pharaoh replied, and he asked the question, who is Yahweh? Who is Yahweh? Who's Yod-Heh-Wah-Heh of the Hebrews that I should obey when he says to let Israel go? Okay. I want to put your direction on this right here, meaning a festival. Yah did not send them in there to lie to them, to Pharaoh. He sent them in there to tell them the truth about why they were going. They were going into the desert to go celebrate a festival to honor me. That's what Yah's words are. That's why you have these quotations that mean send my people away, that, you know, they may go in the desert and honor me. Pharaoh says, who's this Yahweh? Who is this Yahweh that you're talking about? That I should obey him, what he says, to send Israel away. I don't know him. I don't know Yahweh. And also, I won't let Israel go. I won't send him away. Okay, so this is the battle. And Yah told Moshe to tell Aharon to tell Pharaoh that if you don't let my son send my son away, I'm going to kill your son. Okay, so look at the reason why. Then they said, the Elohim of, and a lot of this stuff right here, if I put it in the Hebrew, would let you know, has Elohim of the Hebrews has met with us. Okay, meaning Aharon, Moshe, and the elders, and he says, send us out 3 days journey into the desert so that we can sacrifice to Yahweh. Otherwise, now here's what I want you to see. If otherwise, he may strike us with a plague or with a sword. Okay. And then Pharaoh goes on to talk about, well, are you trying to get the people away from their work? That's when he increased all their labor and all this kind of stuff. Yahweh is telling Israel that I will strike them with a plague, and I'm going to strike them with a sword if they don't come out. Never saw that before. He's going to strike, he's not going to strike, listen to me carefully. The Hebrew tells us that he says he's going to strike us. And the people are talking is Moshe, Aharon, and the elders. He's going to strike Israel with a plague and a sword. And how could that be supported? How can that be true? Because you got to get another witness. Is this, hyperbole? Is this just something I'm saying? No, he's telling us that Yahweh's intention was to strike Israel if they didn't leave. Where's that at? It's going to be found in the book of Ezekiel. And this is the reason why you and I need to listen to Moshe. Because Yah's intention is, if Israel doesn't come out of Egypt, then Yah's going to strike them. Yahweh's going to strike Israel. Listen to me. And I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking about mindset. You guys don't, this is a part of the Elohim that you and I don't know, that we've been dumbed down and they've been playing. He said, if remember, if you make yourself stupid, you're going to stay stupid. If you blind yourself, you're going to stay blind. Don't be dumb and don't be stupid and don't be blind. Take off the blinders and really pay attention. The bottom line is the Yah's intention is if you and I don't come out of Egypt, okay, mentally, he's going to strike us. And here it is. On the 10th day of the 5th month of the 7th year, some of Israel's leaders came to consult Yahweh, and they sat with me. And the word of Yahweh came to me. He said, human beings, speak to Israel's leaders. So now you see Israel's leaders. Tell them to Yahweh Elohim, tell them Adonai, Elohim, Yahweh, ask, what have you come to consult me? You're coming to ask me questions, right? Because you want to know. Consult here means to get understanding, right? As I live, says Yahweh Elohim, I swear that I will not allow you to consult me. Why? Are you going to judge them? That's the question he's asking Ezekiel. Human being, are you going to judge them? Then if you are, then have them realize how disgusting their ancestors' practices were. Tell them that Yahweh Elohim says this, back on the day when I chose Israel, I raised my hand to the descendants of the house of Yaakov. I revealed to myself to them in the land of Egypt when I raised my hand and said to them, I am Yahweh, your Elohim. This is very important. I raised my hand to them and said, I am Yahweh. That's what I told you. So when Yahweh revealed himself, he revealed himself to us as I am Yahweh. I raised my hand to the descendants, the household, where the seed, descendants here is seed, called Zerakah. Okay, Zerakah means seed, not just descendants, seed. Okay, under seed, the sons, seed of the house of Yaakov. I revealed myself to them in the land of Mizraim when I raised my hand and said, I am Yahweh. Question. Did Yahweh raise his hand to us and let us know who he is?
Yeah.
And how did he do that? Right here. He revealed his name to us. His name was revealed to them before he brought them out. I want you to put the pieces together. Use wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Yah revealed himself to them by giving him his name. Because Yahweh's name means I am a deliverer. I will have compassion and mercy. I keep promises. I don't exonerate the guilty. I make everybody responsible for what they've done. And a matter of fact, he told Moshe to tell the children of Israel, I've come to visit. And visit in the Hebrew means pakad. And pakad means to appoint and means to give account. So whatever they did to you guys, I have always taken account of what they've done. And now I'm going to visit them to pay them back. I know your labor. That's why I'm going to plunder them. I know what they did to your kids. I'm going to kill the firstborn. I'm going to do it all. So he reveals himself to Israel by his name. Okay. He says, on that day, I raised my hand and I pledging to bring them out of the land of Mizraim into a land that I have reconnoitated, meaning I searched for them, a land flowing with milk and honey, the most beautiful of all lands. Now we're in Ezekiel chapter number 20. Okay. Then he says this, I told them, each of you is to throw away the detestable things that draw your eyes. We didn't see that in the Exodus narration. But this is the story that you're not getting when Moshe and Aharon and the leaders came to him and told Pharaoh, we got to go to a festival. Why do you got to go to a festival? Well, before you go to the festival, I'm asking you guys to throw away all your detestable things that's drawing your eyes. Don't defile yourselves with the idols of Mizraim. I'm telling you to get rid of your gods. So what is the Holy One of Israel telling us to do today? I'm telling you to get rid of your idols. So Christmas, you got rid of it. Because why? I am Yahweh. You're what? Elohim. So to be with Yahweh is to get rid of your idols. To have his name is to get rid of your idols. So that's how, don't defile yourself with the Christmas, the Easter, none of these things. Don't do what they do. Because I'm the one who's going to bring you out. Okay. I'm going to bring you out. Okay. Because that's what I do. So I need you to throw away those things, okay, the diet, everything. And then he says, but what did they do? This is why they're in Egypt. They rebelled against me, and they wouldn't what? Listen to me. So when he went in and he killed the firstborn, and he put the blood over the doorstep, the doorposts on the sides and on the lintel at the top, did they have idols? Yes, they did. They had idols. They didn't get rid of it. They rebelled against me. So the rebellion for Israel didn't start when they went into the wilderness. The rebellion for Israel started while they were in Egypt. They did not, each one of them, throw away the detestable things that drew their eyes. They did not abandon the idols of Mizraim. And idols is the images and the ways, because when you serve an image, you have a certain, they got idols of sexual things that they do. They got the idols of, looking at powerful things to make them wealthy. They're looking to all these different things. So Yah says they didn't get rid of those things. Okay. So they didn't do it. So he says, then I said, I will pour out my fury on them and spend my anger on them while they're in the land of Egypt. So there's been several times when Yah was going to wipe Israel away and clean and kill everybody. Okay. Because this is what he wants us to know, that I was going to spend my anger on them. I was. They're in the land. I was going to do it. But concern for my what? My own reputation, which is his name, who I am, my character, it kept me from letting it be profaned in the sight of the nations among whom they were living. So Yah's guarding his name by not killing them. So in the sight, in the eyes of, not the spiritual eyes, in the physical eyes of whom I had made myself known to them. I let myself be known to them by my name. I also let myself be known to them by the staff that was in the hand of Moshe. Because I told him to take that staff that I put my hand on and gave it to you to put it in your hand. The staff was used to lead the children of Israel out of Mizraim. And the one who's holding the staff was Moshe. So the one who holds the staff is the one that you need to listen to as we begin our understanding today, that you have to listen to Moshe. He said, I made myself known to them in order to bring them out of the land of Mizraim. That's the whole intention. So the reason why Yah has made himself known to us is to bring us out. But you have a responsibility. Don't rebel. So I had them leave the land of Egypt and I brought them out in the desert. He doesn't mention anything about killing the firstborn or nothing. He doesn't have to. He's giving us some deep understanding about what our ancestors have done. That's why he says, remember what your ancestors did? If you want me to consult me and you want to know what's going on, let me tell you what's going on. Okay. I gave them my laws and I showed them my rulings. When I brought them to the desert. If a person obeys them, he will have life through them. Okay. So while you have the Torah, the laws and the Koch, you will have life through them. That's your life. Okay. And I gave them my Shabbats as a sign between me and them so that they would know that I am Yahweh. So the Shabbats are connected to Yahweh. So that's another way for you to know that he's Yahweh. Is by obeying and keeping the Shabbat. If you don't keep the Shabbat, then you won't know that he's Yahweh, because that's where you will know that I am Yahweh. I am the one who makes them holy. So am I only making them holy through the Shabbat? Not only the Shabbat, I'm making them holy through the way that they live their lives. I've called them to have a life with them. I've called them to be holy. I've called them to know me. That's what I want you to do. That's why I reveal myself to your family. But the house of Israel, the whole entire house rebelled against me in the desert. All 12 tribes, they didn't live by my laws. Okay. I'm just telling you, your ancestors want to know, they didn't live by my laws. They rejected, they rejected my judgments, my rulings. My laws are my kokim. Okay. And if a person does them, he will have life. And through them, that's how you get your life. Moreover, they greatly profane my Shabbats. So they didn't keep them holy. They didn't set them apart. They did what they wanted to do. They kept doing their business. They kept doing what they wanted to do. Okay, then I said, I will pour out my fury on them in the desert. So I was going to kill them in the desert too, in order to destroy them. So that's the second time that I was going to destroy them. The first time I was going to destroy them was in Mitzrayim. The second time I was going to destroy them was going to be in the desert. But for the concern of my what? So now you got to see the importance of his reputation and his name. His reputation means everything to him. So based on concern for my reputation, my own reputation, it kept me from letting it be profane in the sight of the nations, because he said if he would have destroyed them, it would have profaned what his name represents. His name represents to be a savior, because he says, I'm Yahweh, I'm your savior. There's no other savior. And that's when they said, oh, you brought me out just so you could kill him. Remember, Moshe said, if you do this, they're going to say you brought him out here just to kill him. Don't do that, because everybody would say you did that. He's protecting his reputation. He tells us in the book of Ezekiel in chapter number 36, Israel, loathe yourselves. I'm not bringing you out because of any good you've done. I'm bringing you out for the sake of my own reputation, because you're profaning my name in the sight of the nations. Yet I also raised my hand and I swore to them in the desert. I made another oath that I will not bring them into the land I was giving, if land flowing with milk and honey, the most beautiful of all lands. Nobody wants to go there because they have rejected my rulings, and they do not live by my kokim, my laws, the things I tell them to do, the kokes, the things that are inscribed. Because if you're going to live with me, you got to do these things. And they profane my Shabbat, since their hearts went after their idols. You don't get rid of the idols, you're still not going to live by Yahweh's kokim and his mishpatim or his Shabbats. You're not going to honor it. However, I spared them from the complete destruction. I did destroy some of them, I'm paraphrasing, but I spared them from complete destruction. I killed that generation. I didn't completely finish them off in the desert. So I killed the first generation, let the second generation live. Verse number 18, I said to their children in the desert, don't live by the laws of your fathers, or observe their rulings, or defile yourselves with their idols. So what it means is that the laws of their fathers was the things that their fathers taught them. And the observations are what they taught them. And the rulings is what they taught them. So your fathers are the ones who are responsible for teaching the children. So this is why Yah says, if you're going to consult me, you need to understand what your fathers, your ancestors did, because you're doing exactly the same thing. So he says, I'm Yahweh, your Elohim. I'm Yahweh, meaning going back to that name. It's not just a regular name. This is a name that he revealed. Live by my laws, not your father's laws, my laws. And observe, meaning keep and guard my rulings, my judgments, and obey them, and keep my Shabbat holy. And they will be as a sign. So listen, and they, what's a sign? What's a sign? You think the Shabbat is just a sign? They is the rulings. They is the laws. They is the Shabbats. Every part of Yah has ever said, everything that he's told us is the sign between me and you, that you will know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim. The only way you and I will ever know who Yahweh is if we follow what Moshe told Yahweh. What Yahweh told Moshe to tell to the children of Israel. Yah told Moshe, you are me on earth. You're the one who I'm going to tell my words to, because you're the only person I'm ever going to speak to. That's it. If I talk to a prophet, I'll speak to him in a dream and a vision. With you, I'm going to speak face to face. And this is the reason why there's a huge problem for Israel, because Moshe was like, what if they don't believe me? He said, okay, we'll do these 3 signs. Well, what signs? Well, how will you know what the signs are? Well, the sign had to do with the staff. It had to do with the water being turned into blood, and it had to do with his hand being stuck inside of his garment and pulled out of his garment, right? So what was the connection there? All 3 things have to do with Yahweh's hands, meaning like Yah is the one who's going to bring upon, every time he did a sign, he used that staff. The staff was in Moshe's hand. He said, look at his hand. I'm the one who's in charge. I have the hand to put disease on people or take it off. Yah used his hand to show him that. With the hand, go get the water out of the Nile. I'm the one who can use my hand to turn the water into blood. And he did that. He struck the water with the staff. So the extension of the staff, okay, the extension of the rod, the mateh that Moshe had, this rod that Yah will put in his hand, the lamed, the staff, is to learn. That's what we'll learn by Yahweh. The same letter for lamed is called lamad. It means to learn. So this is the way that Yah is teaching us. He's teaching us through learning, and we learn through the things that we experience and the things that we go through. So he's telling Israel that they didn't learn his ways because they're not listening to Moshe. So when he's talking about they rebelled against me, they rebelled against everything that Moshe told. When he said they didn't live by my laws, the laws that Moshe gave them. They rebelled against me. Who's me? Yahweh. Well, what do you mean against me? Remember, he told Moshe said, well, why are you guys mad at me? It's not me that you're rebelling against, it's Yahweh. You see? That's why Yahweh told Moshe, hey, when you struck that rock, I didn't tell you to do that. I didn't tell you to do that. You did something unauthorized. I told you to do this. So what you did is you moved your hand in a way that I told you not to. You just made my hand do something under my hand. You moved my hand to something I didn't want to move to. So you don't get to go in. Moshe is an extension of Yahweh's hand. Moshe is the teacher that Yah gave us to tell us what Yah wants us to do. That's why Moshe wrote all of the Torah. And he had well, he didn't write it all. He had Yehoshua was his assistant, told him what to write. Listen what it says, and we'll finish up. 21 says this. It says that, but the children too rebelled. This is the second generation. They did not live by my laws or observe my rulings to obey, which if a person does, he will have life by them. They profane my Shabbats. Then I said, I will pour out my fury on them and spend my anger on them in the desert. Okay, so who did he say that to? Who told the children of Israel that Yah was going to pour his fury on them? And he's going to spend his anger on them. Who Yah talked to? Did he tell them? He did tell them. Who did he tell them by? Moshe. Nevertheless, I withdrew what? My hand. And I allowed concern for my reputation. Okay. His shemo to what? To keep me from letting it be profaned in the sight of the nations who've seen that I brought them out. So there's a whole bunch of group of people that saw Israel go out and like, who brought them out? Yahweh. I also, look at the quotations, I also raised my hand. My hand, my hand, my hand. I withdrew my hand. I was going to kill him again. So this hand here is the third I was going to kill him. But instead of me saying I'm going to kill him, I raised my hand and I swore again by my hand that I would scatter them among the nations and disperse them to the countries. So this was the third possible killing, but it was also the third swear. So you and I need to be thankful that Yah raised his hand instead of taking his hand to kill us. He said, I withdrew my hand. Yah will use his hand to destroy, but instead of him destroying us, he rose his hand to swear. And with him swearing and getting mad at us, he sent us into the nations. So you and I need to be thankful that Yah raised his hand to swear and not use to smack and to destroy. And the reason why he withdrew his hand is because of his reputation, which has to do with his name, because your name is your character, it's your shame. Okay. It's his reputation. And that's what the book of Shemot is about. It's about Yah establishing his reputation. He has a reputation for bringing signs and wonders. He has a reputation for killing the firstborn and the firstborn of animals. He has a reputation of destroying the first of every crop. He has a reputation of bringing storms. He has a reputation of blocking the sun out. He has a reputation to open the Red Sea. He has a reputation of feeding the children of Israel for 40 years in the wilderness. He has a reputation of striking and splitting a rock and bringing water. He has a reputation of healing them. He has a reputation. And he's not going to let that reputation be what? Profaned in the sight of the nations. That he brought them out. I raised my hand and I swore to them in the desert that I will scatter them among the nations and disperse them throughout all the countries. Okay, because they hadn't obeyed my rulings, but they have rejected my laws and profaned my Shabbats, and their eyes have turned toward their father's idols. So your Christmas trees, your Easter bunnies, your Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff. Okay. All this other things. And I also gave them laws, which they did not do them any good, and rulings which they did not live. So I gave them the same thing. And I let them become defiled by their own gifts, in that they offered up their firstborn sons. This is the second generation, so that I could fill them with revulsion. I allowed them to do that so they could finally realize that I'm Yahweh. They still don't know. Therefore, human beings speak to the house of Israel and tell them that Yahweh Elohim says this: moreover, your ancestors blasphemed me in another way by breaking faith with me still in another way. For after I had brought them into the land, which I raised my hand to pledge to give to them, they noted all its high hills, its leafy trees. They offered their sacrifices. There they made offerings that provoked my anger. They set out their sweet aromas. They poured out their drink offerings. When I asked them, this high place where you go, what's the meaning of it? They gave it the name Bama. What is it? To this day, tell the house of Israel that Yahweh Elohim says this: you're defiling yourselves in the same way your ancestors, following their abominations and fornicating with them. When And when offering your gifts, you make your children pass through the fire and defile yourselves with your idols, all of them, to this day. So the question is, so am I supposed to allow you to consult me? House of Israel, as I live, says Yahweh Elohim, I swear that I won't have you consult me. So now he's done with the consultation. Okay. Now look what he says. And that which you have in mind, when you say we will be like the Goyim, which we read in Jeremiah chapter number 10, that tells you not to be like them. He says, you guys want to be like them. You want to be like the families of other countries. You want to be like them serving wood and stone. Will certainly not happen. It's not going to happen. That's your intention. And the people that he's talking to right now are the children of Israel that are in exile. He says, as I live, says Yahweh, I swear surely with a mighty hand. This is what I'm going to do again with a stretched out arm. But now instead of me, I didn't get a chance to do the poured out fury. I didn't pour out any fury on Mizraim. I didn't destroy them. Not like I could have. I didn't. I myself will be king over you. So now Yah's going to give the poured out fury. So everything that he never was able to give on his anger is about to come. That's what I'm trying to show you. I will bring you out from the peoples and gather you from all the countries where you were scattered. And with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and poured out fury, this is what I'm saying. I will bring you into the desert of the peoples and judge you face to face, just as I judged your ancestors in the land of Egypt. How did he judge our ancestors out in the wilderness in the land of Egypt? He killed them. And he killed them because they were rebels. So let me show you what he's going to do to us, okay, if we don't follow him, the part of Israel. He says, just as I judged your ancestors in the desert of the land of Egypt, so I will judge you, says Yahweh. So I'm not showing any favoritism. I will make you pass under the crook, and I will bring you into the obligation of the covenant. Covenant's not done away with. I will rid you of the rebels. So there's rebels. I will rid you of the rebels who are in revolt against me. I will bring them out of the land where they're living. So he's going to bring out, your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, your cousin. They're all coming. They're getting out. But they will not enter the land of Israel. Then you will know that I'm Yahweh. Then you're going to know. It's only when he brings us out that you're going to really, really know. Because if he's telling you that, listen to me carefully, if he's telling you that he has a reputation, his reputation will not allow a rebel to go into the land. A rebel is not going, they will not go on in the land. They will not enter the land of Israel. I've been told by a lot of leaders, messianic, non-messianic, that he's going to bring all of us back. And here is when I bring them here, they don't have anything to say. There will not be a rebel to ever enter in the land of Israel. I'm going to bring them out of Egypt and the lands where they were. I'm going to bring them out of these lands, but they're not to enter the land of Israel. Because remember, Yah said, if I show pity, they still won't what? Somebody tell me. They will not learn what righteousness is. You won't learn. So Yah's not going to show pity. Yah's not going to show pity. There's times when Yah doesn't show pity. There's times where Yah says, I'm killing everybody. I might leave one or two. Moses, move out the way. I'm killing everybody. I'll just start over with you. You're going to know this when you see your family members when they're not going in. They will not enter the land of Israel. And what are they going to stay in the desert? I'm going to bring them out there. I'm going to judge you. I'm going to plead with you, and I'm going to bring the case against you because I am Yahweh. And then you'll know that I am Yahweh, that I do everything in righteousness and justice. And when he says that, then you'll know that I'm Yahweh. Well, what is Yahweh? What is Yahweh? Who is he? He said, then you'll know. What are you going to know? Oh, this is what you're going to know. This is what you're going to know. And this is what you're always going to remember. You're going to remember everything that you learned in the Torah. That's what you're going to learn. You're going to know that. You're going to know that I say who I am. Like I introduced myself to the children of Israel, and I told them to get rid of their idols, and they never did. The same people who rebel against me and haven't gotten rid of their idols still want to do Christmas. Guess what? I got something for you. Don't worry about it. Because obviously in Ezekiel, he continues to tell them, continue to do what you're doing. Doesn't matter. Continue to do what you do. But in 34:6, he says this. Yahweh passed before and proclaimed Yahweh, Yahweh. I'm going to let you know who I am. My character. I'm Elohim. That's number 1. 2, I'm merciful. 3, I'm compassionate. I'm slow to anger. I'm rich in grace, rich in truth. I show grace to the 1,000th generation. I forgive offenses. I forgive crimes, and I forgive sins. That's not a problem. But the part of you that don't really know me is I'm going to show you this part of me. I'm not going to exonerate the guilty. I'm going to cause the negative effects of those parents' offenses to be experienced by their children and their grandchildren to the 3rd, 4th generation. Okay, but it doesn't say here that he continues to say those who hate me, that he says in the covenant, you hate me. And you and I don't want to understand that a wicked person hates the Holy One of Israel. You hate Yahweh when you don't do what he says. Yahweh's name is great. His name is honorable. He's a king. And so he's asking all of us to make up our minds to, okay, and he says right now that you guys are profaning my name in the nations. Remember, he's been trying to spare his reputation. So he sent us to the nations, and when we got here, he said, you're profaning my name in the nations. So let me ask you a question. If he told us that I'm trying to spare my reputation, now I'm telling you in Ezekiel 37 that you guys are profaning my name where you've gone. You guys have profaned my name. A lot of people don't believe that. They don't believe that they're profaning Yahweh's name. They are. We are by sheer fact that his name is on us. Yah's name is placed on Israel. It's placed on you. You're not going to get away from this. So the warning for us is this, is that since my name is on you, and here it is, this is what he tells us. I shouldn't give you half of it. I want to tell you what he says. But this is what Yahweh says. He who created you, Yaakov, he who formed you, Yisrael, don't be afraid. I have redeemed you. I'm calling you by your name. You're mine. When you pass through the water, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, they won't overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you won't be scorched. The flame will not burn you, for I am Yahweh. Your Holy One, your Elohim, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I've given Egypt as a ransom, Ethiopian Savior for you, because I regarded you as valiant and honored, and because I love you. That's why. For you, I give people. For you, I'll give people. I'm not only going to give people for you, but I'm going to give people and I'm going to give nations exchange for your life. That means I will kill them. Like I have. I'll kill the firstborn. You going to feel bad about that? You want to cry? You want to feel something for the nations? You want to be upset when he does this? You want to give some, why do that? You want to question this? I told you that I love you. That's what I told you. And I told you that I will give people and nations in exchange for your life like I've done. I've killed a lot of people for you. I've moved kings out of their places. I've destroyed nations for you. And I intend on doing it again. Don't be afraid. I'm with you. Is he telling us that right? I'm with you right now? No, he's telling this is what it's going to be when I come and get you. I will bring your descendants from the east, and I will gather, and this is seed, your sons and daughters, and I'll gather you from the west. I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, don't hold them back. Bring my what? Bring my sons from afar away. Oh, and he has daughters. Bring my daughters too from the ends of the earth. Everyone who bears my name, whom I created for my glory. I formed him. Yes, I made him. You are Yah's sons and you are Yahweh's daughters. And because you and I are the Bane and we're the Bath. And he says my, and he says my. He says, you bear my name, whom I created for my glory, my Kavod. I formed him. I made him. Yes, I made him. You want to feel bad about something? You need to feel bad that Yah, you need to feel bad that we have gone against the Holy One of Israel. You and I have profaned his name by how we have lived. Well, no, I didn't do it. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't. So you're saying you're not guilty. Yah says you are guilty. If you learn what your ancestors taught you, you're guilty, and you need to just accept it. Okay? Just accept it. And the reason why I'm sharing this with us is because Yah's telling us that what we've been doing is really bad. Okay? He's been saying to us that I scattered them among the nations and dispersed them through the countries, and I judged them in keeping with their manner of life and actions. This is Ezekiel chapter 36. And when they came to the nations they were going, they profaned my holy name. This is the profanation that he didn't want to. Yah did not profane his name. You and I have. They came to the nation they're going. They profaned my name. Yah did not profane his own name. That's why he didn't destroy us. Because he was trying to protect his reputation. He didn't want to incur any profanation. The matter of fact, to let you know what profane is to bruise and to put a mark and a skirmish or some kind of like a dent or a scratch on something that's perfect. You know, it's to defile it. Like, you know, you got a brand new refrigerator, somebody delivers, and some kind of way the delivery guy made a mistake and he scratches it with his screwdriver. Is the refrigerator defiled? Is it profane? Yes, it is. Brand new car, someone sits in it, they got a pencil in their pocket, poke a hole in the leather seat. Is the car been profane? Yes, it has. It's been tarnished. It's been messed up. So Yah is saying my name, you guys have put a mark upon my reputation. I had to punish you because that's what I do. I judge them according to their life, the manner of their life and their actions. It's how you live that I'm checking you on. So the people said of them, these are Yahweh's people who have been exiled from the land. But he says, but I'm concerned about my holy name. You see, the name that's on you and I, that the house of Israel is profaning among the nations where they've gone. So you tell the house of Israel, Yahweh Elohim says, I am not going to do this for your sake, house of Israel, but for the sake of my holy name, which you have been profaning among the nations where you went. I will set apart my great name to be what? Regarded as holy. And how does he plan on doing that? He plans on doing it with fire. Since it was profaned in the nations, okay? Since it's already been profaned in the nations, because that's where it's at, you profaned it among them. My name, the nations will know that I'm Yahweh. When what? Just like he says, then they'll know that I'm Yahweh. Well, when are the nations going to know when I'm Yahweh? When I set my name as guard as holy. When I bring what? When I bring the fire. When are you and I going to know that he's Yahweh? When he he kills every rebel and they won't go into the land of Israel. Then before their eyes, I'm set apart as holy through you to regard as holy. Because I'm going to do something. I'm using you to show the nations my holiness. Because what I'm going to do to you, they're going to know that that's Yahweh. Just like when they were in Egypt and everyone else was getting hit with a plague, you guys are not going to get hit with it. When everything else was dark, you guys had light. When everybody was hungry, you were fed. But I'm not doing those plagues again. This time I'm bringing something that's going to really let the whole entire world know. It's going to be a one-time event where everybody's going to see, and I'm going to be set apart through you to be regarded as holy. I've used you to scatter you among the nations, and I knew when you got there that you would profane it. But I'm going to take you from among those nations. I'm going to gather you from those countries and return you to your own soil, and then you're going to be clean. But the point of the lesson today is this. You and I have Yahweh's name on us, and it's a great responsibility. Yahweh's name is his character. Yahweh's righteous, Yahweh's just, Yahweh's compassionate, Yahweh's full of grace, he's full of mercy, he's full of truth, and he doesn't exonerate the guilty. And neither should you and I. That's why he gave us his laws, his statutes, his commandments, his rulings. That's why you're keeping the Shabbat. It's because Yah gave it to us. If you have Yahweh's name on you, then that's what the things you're going to do. You and I are bringing shame upon Yah's name by even wearing clothing that Yah told us not to wear. You don't understand how special we are and how set apart we are. You and I think that we're just regular people. You're not a regular person. You're very special to him. Very. You're a prized possession. You're his inheritance. Out of all the things that he's made and all the people he's made, he decided to choose you. And so what's our responsibility and our obligation? Our obligation is, number one, build your family the way that I told you. Teach your children. Guard the seed. Protect the seed. Protect your sons and your daughters. Teach your sons and your daughters. Correct your sons and your daughters, because they're not your sons and daughters, they're mine. Do you understand? Like I gave Moshe my words, listen to the words of Moshe. Obey what he tells you, because he's the only person I've ever spoken to. There's no one else I'm speaking to. I'm not talking directly to the prophets. I give them dreams and visions, and they're there to warn you, to turn you back to the Torah. The only instructions that you have is the instructions that I gave to Moshe. He's the one who had the staff in his hand. He's the one that I called. He's the one that I spoke to. I used his brother Aharon to join the children of Israel to me through a process of being cleansed. That's why I chose him. I chose that family to join themselves to me so we can be together. So when I live among you, they'll teach you how to do things. And as a result of their service towards me, because they don't get any land, I'm their inheritance, I'll use the wages from the fields and the animals and stuff and the furs and the silver and the gold and all that. And that's how they'll receive their payment. They'll have little towns and cities to live in, and they'll have some houses, but they don't have any inheritance. I'm their inheritance. And the rest of you guys get land, and you're supposed to take that land and bless me with it. And take care of the widow, the stranger, and the fatherless. But you're only going to be in the land if you don't bring, if you're not a rebel. Yes, you're profaning my name, but I'm going to cleanse you. I already told you that. I told you I'm going to cleanse you. Chapter number 36, chapter number 37, chapter number 34 of Ezekiel. It's all there. I'm going to give you my spirit. I'm going to rewrite the Torah on your mind. Jeremiah chapter 31. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do in chapter number 30 of Jeremiah before I come. I'm talking to you. I'm letting you know that if you rebel against me, you don't get rid of your idols like I told your ancestors, I'm killing you. Anybody that doesn't, who abandon the Torah, they're wicked. I'm going to destroy the wicked, because even if I showed the wicked, I warn the wicked. Go to Isaiah 56, I warn them. Go to Ezekiel 18, I warn them. I've warned you over and over and over again. But you're going to realize that I'm Yahweh when I show you the people who are not rebels. See, chapter number 20 of Ezekiel is talking to the individuals like you and I to tell us the background of what happened in Mizraim that you and I weren't told. He's telling us what the problem is. The problem is Israel won't listen to Yahweh. Rebels get dealt with. And Yah's saying that when I bring you out, I'm going to show you. I'm bringing the rebels out. I'm bringing them out. But when you see your mother, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, all these other people, aunties and cousins and friends and family, when you see me put them down, don't you open your mouth like your ancestors did and say, oh, Yahweh's killed his people. They had the same opportunity you did. I revealed myself to them by revelation of my name. I don't give my name to some and not to others. I gave the same people that I said I'm UNWRAP to tell them that UNWRAP sent me to you is the same people that had them idols in their house. The same people that I killed the firstborn for, the same people that had those idols. The same people that I brought out are the same people that did not keep my laws. So from your perspective, just understand I'm letting you know that I'm going to kill them. And not because I want to. Because I tell you in Ezekiel 18, and I tell you in Ezekiel 20, and I tell you in Ezekiel 22, I tell you in Ezekiel 33, I don't want the wicked to die. It's their choice. It's your choice. And the key ingredient is if you abandon the Torah, which means you won't listen to what Moshe said. Anyone have any questions? I know it's a heavy message, but it's the truth. It's the truth, you guys. We cannot abandon. You and I cannot, a matter of fact, praise the Holy One of Israel. Anytime we mention his name, anytime you and I mention his name, we need to be careful. Let's don't just use his name in any capacity, just to be talking. We need, when we talk and we mention his name, we need to put some respect on it, on hard, like, no. Anybody else to show some disrespect with his name in context, and I don't care if they can talk, if they're having any conversation, that conversation better be very distant away from his name. Period. Even though we're in profanation land and we're eating, we don't have the right stuff, we don't have the right clothes, we don't have the right, we don't have a gathering, we can't bring him anything, doesn't mean that his name to be profaned and continue to be profaned. He only brings it to our attention so we can change our behavior. That's what he's given. So that's what this class was about today. Okay. There was a lot more in Exodus that we could have brought out, but bottom line is we're going to continue. We're going to continue next week, and it's going to be chapter number 6 through something else. And Yah has a lot of testimonies that he wants to tell us. He wants to tell us everything his intention is to do for this family. He brought this family to be hated. He sent them there to be hated. He sent them to grow. He sent them there on that fact so he could show his power. He chose that family for that reason. Just like he chose Moshe, he didn't want to do the job. Same thing. A lot of us have some reluctancy to do what he says and be okay with it. Because the bottom line is, even if you make Yahweh angry, his intention, his will is still going to be done, regardless if you and I have the right mouth or we say the right things, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm sometimes a little hard on myself because I'm thinking, I mess up just like everyone else. I make mistakes. I'm not 100 all the time. And I feel like, well, maybe I shouldn't, I don't feel like, I don't feel worthy, like, man, this is a great thing. And his name, you get real close to it. I feel bad about a lot of stuff, how I think sometimes, and some of the things I say and my responses to different situations. I'm not 100%. Neither was Moshe. So, but it doesn't mean that we don't have to look to ways to improve our lives and to say, well, even though I'm not worthy, doesn't mean that I got to stop reading the Torah. Even if you make a mistake, don't stop reading the Torah. Don't stop reading the Torah. Don't stop listening to Yahweh's words because you made a mistake. Yahweh says, I know that you're nothing but dust. I know that you're the way it's not in you. You need to be taught. They say, well, there dwelleth no good thing in me. That's a lie. There's good things in us. But the way to follow Yahweh's way needs to be one of guidance. And it needs to be by a teacher. It has to be Moshe. That's who's leading us on this path. Abraham said, Yah said he's going to teach his children the way of Yahweh, to guard Yahweh's ways. So there's good in us. We just need to bring it out through teaching. We need to bring it out by discipline. We need to bring it out by these things. And you and I we're not accomplishing what we want. We're not, getting everything that we desire right now. It's a very difficult time. A lot of us want more than what we can get. A lot of us are yearning and desiring to be with the Holy One of Israel and be with our people and to be united with him. And we're not getting it. Not here, because we're being oppressed. Oh, you're not being oppressed. You got free. You guys got the NBA. You got rap stars. You guys got everything. You got cars. You got houses. No, you don't understand. We don't have the freedom to continue to increase and to build our numbers. We don't have the freedom to go and take that out of the land and bring it to Yahweh and say thank you. We don't get a chance to use our hands anymore. We really don't. People are using their hands to fight, rob, steal, kill, all kind of stuff. They're not using their hands for what their hands were made for, to lift into praise and make confession, to do reaping and sowing, and to be doing some gathering, taking hold of Yah. You understand? And then sometimes he wants us to go to war. We have to do that too. So that's all part of it. It's not this magical Christian, hands-off message. No, this is the reality. We're living a real world. So that's what he's asking us to do. So I give praise, I give honor, I give esteem to the Holy One of Israel. I want to let you know that this is a journey and this is a walk, and don't feel bad if you don't know certain things. If you're at a certain level, you only got a little bit out of today, and just understand, just take whatever you can. We're all on the same path. And so we're all walking this path. And so some of us are a little bit stronger than others. We've been on it longer. But guess what? I got good news for you. The path that I'm on, is the path that you're on. And no matter how many times I've been around this path, the path doesn't change. So where you're going, I've already been there. You understand? And my job is to say, hey, I'm familiar with it. So I'm like, okay, I know where to go, where not to go. And then if you stick with the class, you guys are going the same, we're all on the same path. And Yahweh is leading us through Moshe. He's just using Moshe to lead us. So all he's done is he's given this word to Moshe, put it in written form. Then you got a leader that comes along and say, well, what's supposed to be in my hand? I'm supposed to take the staff of Yahweh, put it in my hand, and lead the people exactly the way of Moshe. It's already written out. There's no other way to go. I'm not supposed to create a new way. I'm not supposed to create a new direction. I'm not supposed to have us going in circles. There's different destinations that we have to go to. There's different Moedims we have to go to. We go from Shabbat to Shabbat to Shabbat to Shabbat to Moedim. Shabbat to Shabbat to Shabbat, Shabbat to Moedim. That's how we do it. And when we get there, we eat differently, because there's different seasons. So right now, everybody thinks that this is the beginning of the year coming up for them in the dead of winter when everything's dead. For us, this is not our new year. Our new year is in the springtime when there's life. See? So we're on the same path. We're walking that pathway, and it's prescribed, and it's over and over and over and over again. So some of you have been hearing me say the same thing over and over and over and over again. Don't get tired of hearing it. Yahweh Elohim. That's all you'll hear. Yohe Wayomer Yahweh to El Moshe and Aharon. That's all you're going to hear. And the word of Yahweh came unto them, and thus saith Yahweh. That's all you're going to hear. You're not going to hear anything else. You're going to hear, they hate me. You're going to hear, they're stupid. You're going to hear, they're dumb. You're going to hear, they're blind. They're deaf. You're going to hear all these things. That's what's on the path. You're going to hear me yell at you and scream at you, at all of us, because that's what Yah says you got to do. You don't go, oh, come here, come here, come here. No, there's a time for that. When we get healed, when we get out of here, that's when Yah is going to speak to us and heal us, okay? Well, we got to go through it, okay? And we have to just keep going. So don't give up. That's the message. Don't give up. Don't stop building. Don't stop planning, okay? You're doing your business, great. Understand that everything you do, you got to use intelligence, and you have to build. What you're building is what you're building. Don't worry about it. But have your focus on building your family for the sake of someone being able to give praise to the Holy One of Israel, because that's what he chose you for. He gave you his name. Once he puts his name on you, that's it. Your name is, you're sealed. So you and I have an obligation to live according to the conduct and the reputation of the Holy One. That's why everything that we do is written and contained in this gold box that you see behind me. And there was a copy of the instructions and the judgments that was put outside of the box that tells us this is what you guys have access to learn those things. I've already said what I said. That's why it's guarded in the golden box. The other words that I've said, you guys need to be taught those things. So all you right now is doing preparation. You're just practicing. I'm going to come and get you. I haven't forgotten about you. I love you. As I told you, I love you. I'm going to put my name on you. And I'm going to tell you to give my sons up and give my daughters and send them to me. And then when you get home, I'm going to cleanse you. I'm going to wash you. And we're going to start all over again. And we're going to build our family. And then we're going to build a family. And we're going to teach the rest of the world how to live. And we're going to teach the rest of the world what family truly is. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the Holy One. Anyone have any contributions, questions?
Akika, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just wanted to say, Toda Rabbah Leka.
Ah, praise Torah. You're welcome. Look at you speaking that Hebrew to me. Yeah, I know what that Lakai is. Torah. Many thanks to you, Ed Bedman. Shalom. Thank you. Shalom Aleika. So thank you so much. Yeah, Torah Rabbah. It's if his doing. It's his doing today. Yes, praise the Holy One. If you guys want to, you can come to class today for Hebrew. It starts in about 3 hours. And I'm going to do a very simple class, very basic class. We're going back to just some nouns. I moved away from the verbs for a minute. I'm going back to some of the nouns and some vocabulary, and I'll be able to send it to you. Okay, might do 1 or 2 pages of that. All right. Thank you for that, Akoti, and thank you, Ak Yaret. Anyone else? I see we have a couple of new people on here. I see Kavika. Kavika, shalom to you. Shabbat shalom to you. I see Kel, Shabbat shalom. Rivkwa. I have Bob here. Kandra. Oh, look at my sister, Koti. She's on here. Belinda, Fanta, all you guys. Praise the Holy One of Israel. You guys have any questions? Concerns? You want to bring something up? Say something, statement. Don't have to be a question. It could be just a statement. Want to share something with the class? Bloodline from the Father to the sons. Yes. Praise the Holy One. Shalom. No questions. Oh, praise the Holy One. Yes. Thank you. Shalom to you. No questions. Awesome. All right. So again, if you guys want to come to my class, my Hebrew class is at 4 o'clock today, Pacific Standard Time. I don't just teach it to you. I'll give you a free book. I'll send that to you. And also whatever lesson we go over, I give the lesson to you in written format so you can practice it during the week if you need to increase your knowledge base. Okay. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Yahweh, we thank you today. Todah Rabah for Yom Zayda HaShabbat. Todah Rabah Yahweh for the Avoteka, which is our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Todah Rabah Yahweh for the Barith, your Barito. Thank you for the covenant that you made with us. Thank you, Yahweh, for remembering that covenant. Thank you for remembering the children of Israel, why they were in their oppression, Yahweh, and why they were in their trouble. Todah Rabah Yahweh for the La Moshe. Thank you for Moshe and the way Aharon, for giving them to us, Yahweh, to be the leaders that we need to guide us to you. We thank you today for your words, and we thank you for their obedience, and we thank you for showing us that they have reluctancy in some ways, Yahweh, and they made their mistakes, and we'll see that through all the teachings. But we thank you that you tell us that you love us, and that you have concern for us, and that you remember the covenant that you made with our fathers, and that you do hear, and you do see, and you do listen to us, Yahweh, and you do know what we're going through. I didn't share that part of the lesson today, Yahweh, but you said that you heard what was going on with them. You saw what was going on with them, and you wanted them to know that you were going to pakad, you were going to take an account of everything they've been through, and you allowed things to get very difficult for them so you can bring about the glory of yourself. So we praise you today for those examples. We praise you for the book that you've given us to show us that it doesn't necessarily mean just about certain names, Yahweh. It's about the character of those names, but also there's other words in there, Yahweh, that give us insight for us to learn how to build our character. So we thank you for the word Bain, for the son, for the building. We thank you for Banoth, Yahweh, for the daughters, Yahweh, which is the Bath, Yahweh. We thank you, Yahweh, for the Bayin, which is the understanding, Yahweh, and the discernment. We thank you for the Banah, which is to build, Yahweh. We ask today that you would continue to build us up. We ask that we would continue to learn the expression of how glorious your name is in the Kavod, the glory of your name, and that we may not continue to profane it, and that you would cleanse us, Yahweh, and to come and get us and bring us home, and to wash us and cleanse us and make us right in your sight, so we may be able to abide with you in your Mishkan and in the place of your land. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Holy One of Israel. Hallelujah. Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
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 Okay.